Yo, what's up, y'all? We are live. So let's me get these shares in, then we'll get into stuff keeps popping up. Then we'll get into today's topics and all that good stuff. Let me see here. And we got Maurice Humboldt. What's up, man? How's it going? Derek Hatfield in here. Zachariah, what's good, dude? Thanks for joining in. Said, what happened to the FB group? Oh, the FB group got shut down. We had some haters. What's up, Cardi? Get down here, bro. We had some haters basically complaining about the group, things we were pushing in the group, and the group got shut down. So we did restart another group, Giant XL American Bully Breed Group 2.0. Make sure you guys join that because starting next week, the only topics we're going to deal with in the live will be the topics that go into the poll that I'll start posting every Monday morning in the group, and then we'll make those part of the Tuesday live. So make sure you join the group, Giant XL American Bully Breed Group 2.0. Make sure you join that. Facebook also, I think, has what they call a shadow ban. So like when we first started the new group, it was growing fast, and all of a sudden it just kind of stopped. So I think pretty much at this point, anything that I'm affiliated with, Facebook isn't really going to promote it or share it automatically. I think that also has to do with us having a page, and Facebook is getting to the point where, those of you who have a business page, they want you to start paying. So I think that also has a large portion to do with it. Let's see here. Solo Bully, Zachariah under review because hey, yeah, it's not even under review because we should have we didn't get an answer. It's not back, so I just look at it like hey, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, make sure you guys are hitting the like button so we can get that going. Eric Maxwell, what's up, dude? Thanks for joining in. Mike B's in here. Down the new one. Exactly. So he put the new one in there. Pretty Eyed Pitts, what's up? Thanks for joining in. What's up, Rhodes? Thanks for joining in here. We got Bowser Bully Yard Canada in the house. V-neck Bullies. Frank Gutierrez. We're about to get into what's good. Bully people says smooth bullies. Mike B said, if you have an accidental breeding with a male that is only 7 months old, can those pups still be registered with the ABKC? I want to say their thing is 8 months, might be 12, but I want to say their thing is 8 months. So they probably won't register them. I don't know, but I do know that is because that was something that, and I should be able to remember it because it just came up like about 2 months ago. ABKC put a thing out, but I want to say the cutoff is 8 months, so definitely look into that. Also, you guys don't hesitate. I don't know how good ABKC is with calling and picking up the phone. I don't think I've ever spoken to them on the phone. My cousin may have. A lot of times we get nervous calling a registry and asking them questions because we have this thing that like, okay, do I really want them to know? That registry, ABKC, UKC, BRC, whoever it is that you're dealing with, they're involved with dogs. They know things happen. Don't hesitate to call them and ask them questions. You don't, have to say, hey, this is what happened on my yard, but just don't hesitate to ask them questions. They're not going to red flag you, and they're more than likely they'll have more respect for you because you're actually hitting them up to ask them questions. So don't hesitate to call. But I want to say it's 7 months. 8 months. I'm sorry. Dom Seguenza, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. It's about that time of the week. Yes, it is. Casper is in the house. We got Major League Canines in from Tampa. Who else we got in here? The Tattoo Bully House said good evening. Casper said if a female has 50-50 genetic information from both parents, what do you think is the percent for a male? That's difficult since the dam gives genetic information to the males. I would look at it like this. We're dealing with genetics, so we're all playing a guessing game. knowing how the X and Y chromosome work gives us a little bit of opportunity to kind of work things to our advantage. So just like you said, the female gives 50-50 genetic information. The female gets 50-50 genetic information from both parents. And then the next thing is the male, who gets an X and a Y chromosome. The Y chromosome carries less information than the X does, which the male is getting from his mom. The Y chromosome is more focused, gives a lot of the dad's genetic information, but is more focused, I shouldn't say more, but is also focused on making that male a male from not only birth, but development, but all the way into, he becomes an adult. So what I would say is, I don't know that I'd give it a percentage. I know people like to say, oh, it's 70% the female. When it comes to your litters, that could be right. But then that means if it's 50-50 females and then you've got males, I don't know. That's hard to give a percentage. I would probably say, okay, going off of litters, I'm trying to think of a small litter I had that was like 4 to 5 pups. And twice I've had litters where it was all males. And I would say 3 out of 4 to 5 pups took more after the female. So I would say maybe she's giving 10. I don't want to say 25, even though that might be how the numbers break out, but I would say 10 to 20% more genetic information to the males than the actual father, the stud is. But that's a hard one. So I'd have to take that number back, because that's a hard one. Mike B said, hold on, where did we go? I think I lost track. There we go. All right, so yeah, that's a hard one. I can't really break it down. It's a good question, though. Actually, our last litter that we had was an even number of 10. Well, it was 11. One pup died. And out of the males, that's a hard one to judge, because the minute you put a number on it, I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna think of something else where the other litters I've had where the situation breaks out different. So that's a hard one to say. But I just think it's something we ought to know, like you already are aware of, so that we can work things into our favor, give ourselves the highest chance of coming up with what we need to come up with. Dom said, the litter I sent you on Messenger is turning out pretty nice, bro. Not bad for a first time. There you go. Mike B said, is it 8 months from the time of breeding or time of pups birth? I want to say he has to be 8 months. Another good question. Thanks again for all the info. I want to say it is 8 months from the point at which those pups are born. Do not quote me on that. I am not sure about that. And what's crazy is this just came up. I'm just getting old. This came up about a month ago. There were changes made that people were talking about. So it should be easy to find. Matter of fact, you know what? Hold on real quick. Let me see if, I want to say it came up before our group got shut down. If it came up after, then that means it will definitely be in the guides section. And let me see here. Temperament, drives, and thresholds, exercise and conditioning, nutrition, training, cognition, anatomy, breeders, and breeding. Let me see here. Clear verse carrier. Known or run me when they talk a tool, brief history of breeding, functional, requires, purpose. I think it's in the guys section of the old group. Showing Dave Wilson performance durability, the differences on purpose. Yeah, it's in the guys section of the old group, which is no longer in existence. So remind me, and if I can find it, I will try to find that answer for you. Let's see what else we got here. They always answer the phone. Smooth said. With ABKC too, I know UKC does. Plus, there's a thing you hit a button and then they call you back. They keep your place in line and then they call you back. Belinda, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Definitely hit that like on there. Let's see. Belinda said ABKC will register anything they never look at info on papers. Ah, Zimbin said, "What's good for Oak Cliff, Texas? What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Still mad about that playoff game. Hey, uh, Brainiac Bully said, much respect. Earl Thrower. Daryl, Tuesday Night Live is my favorite night of the week. Thanks for tuning in, man. How'd you like the Super Bowl halftime? I enjoyed the Super Bowl halftime much better than I did the Super Bowl. I thought it made up for the Niners losing and not being in the Super Bowl. I thought it was great. I had a great time. Went to my daughter had to work and she works down the street at a restaurant. Her and a couple of her friends there that grew up with her. And so she happened to be running the bar. So I got to hit the bar and watch the game from there. So I had a great time watching it. Hopefully you did too, man. Dom said, anyone know how to contact UKC? Their line's always busy and never respond to email. Been waiting on registry. Damn. See, you know what? I haven't had to contact them. When do we last register pups? About 6 to 8 months ago. And it wasn't an issue. I don't think, I asked my cousin if he had needed to call them for anything. But the last time I was dealing with UKC, yeah, you would be on hold for like 3 to 5 minutes. Then they would tell you, if you want us to call you back, hit whatever button and we'll keep your place in line. And then within like 20 minutes, they ended up calling me back. So that kind of sucks because UKC was easier to get a hold of for me than ABKC was. Bully's Cars and AR said, what's up? What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Belinda said UKC has been super hard to get on the phone, but they will respond to emails fairly quickly. So it looks like everybody's having different responses. Let's see. Major League said no one really talks about hot blood or hot dogs, no pun intended. Would you breed known hot dog? What should new people know about breeding a dog that is considered hot? That is the thing. A lot of what the bully community considers hot, I don't really consider hot. And they are socialization issues that could have been handled at an earlier age. Now, as far as dogs that are truly hot, that I would consider actually hot, um, you can breed it out. You can definitely breed it down. You can tone it down. You just have to you have to understand what drive you're dealing with that you're labeling hot. So you're saying, okay, this dog is hot. The truth is, which drive is being triggered that is considered hot. If you're saying hot, then that means the threshold of this drive is high. So what drive is it? You know what I mean? That you're considering hot or extremely reactive. Because some dogs, their threshold is the reactionary, they're higher. They go crazy. But you stomp your foot at them and they take off running. So their threshold is actually low. So it depends on what drive you're looking at when you say hot. And then you just want to make sure drives are no different than the body. Mind and the body follow each other. So if you know what drive you're dealing with, causing this dog to be what you would call hot, then you want to breed to a dog that is warm or cold when it comes to that same drive and that same threshold. But some temperament issues are difficult to get rid of, especially those that are difficult that don't come naturally to the species. Lack of cognitive ability, laziness, things like that can, overly animal aggressive. Those are things that can be a little more difficult to breed out because they don't come natural to the species. So that's just something that you got to know what drive it is you're dealing with. Don said, but I understand they got more breeds and bullies, so I'm being patient. But I understand they got more breeds and bullies, so I'm being patient. Well, yeah, that's true. What's up, Bully Bread Kennels? Eric Maxwell said if the site is less than 8 months, the sire is less than 8 months older than 12 years, then DNA has to be done. Okay. So there you go. So 8 months was the number. And I want to say that they made a change to that just recent, and I think the change is what you're stating. Hey, bro, I've really been considering getting an XL. Do they require a whole lot more exercise than standard or pocket? I would say it should be about the same as the standard, and depends on how well the dog has been bred. If you're getting into those that are more bred to be short-legged and more bulldogish traits, then you're not gonna. It's not even gonna want you to exercise it much. Um, Other than that, I would look at the amount of time you put into a standard or a XL will be about the same amount of time you would put into, your average Rottweiler, German Shepherd, your other larger breeds. It should be about the same. Probably for most people, most breeders, probably less than the German Shepherd, but your average Rottweiler, Bull Mastiff, those type breeds is pretty much what you would be comparable to, somewhere between there and your regular large size Amstaffs. All right, so today's topics: nutrition and feed from pregnant females to growing pups and adults in their elder years. Ryan Sterling said the dirty stuff, waste, management, disposal products and their effects, schedules, what poor practices can do to the dog itself. Let me see here. And why did that just go away? Why did my topics go away? Hold on, let me get back over here. Okay, there we go. Bam. All right, so what did we say? Ryan Sterling was asking about basically cleanup and maintenance. Stephen LeDuc said, at what age do you start looking for studs for your females? What is your process for choosing them? Chris Compton said, what flaws is the hardest to correct? And when do you start over your program? Let's see. Belinda said, do you cull? And if so, do you know when and or why you should hard cull? And then Taki said, why should you set a standard in your yard and stick to it? How important is your personal yard standard for your vision? All right, so let's get to it. Now, remember, starting next week, we're only going to be dealing with, we'll deal with some questions in the very beginning, but other than that, we're going to stick with the topics that are presented on the poll in the Giant XL American Bully Breed group. So make sure you guys join the page. Make sure you're members, because starting next week, that way we can kind of keep the time down rather than doing the 3-hour lives we're constantly doing. All right, so where we're at in the comments, because last week, I think I fell behind like 2 hours in the comments. I was behind. Let's see here. Wait on hold for over 2 hours. Damn. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Eric Maxwell said, when you call UKC, hit 2 for the callback. He said he was number 241 last week. Damn. What up, Ashley? Thanks for joining in. Let's see here. I'd breed a dog aggressive dog, but never human aggressive. Yeah, I don't have a problem with a dog aggressive dog. I'll try to tone that down. Human aggressive, I'm not going to breed that at all. I'm not even going to play that game with it. I've never had ABKC not answer, and if not, they call you back from queue. But again, email has been faster. So it looks like people are having different experiences. When we first got into bullies, ABKC was a problem getting a hold of. We didn't have a way to get them. Matter of fact, I want to say I don't even know if they had a phone number we could find. But let's see. Looks like Mike B said my female's in heat. My 7-month male mounted her for literally 15 seconds. And when I went in to move him off, he was tied, but the tie released after maybe 20 seconds. It was 100% my mistake. No worries. You probably have nothing to worry about. That was 3 days ago. I'm hoping she's not pregnant. Yeah, you probably have nothing to worry about. But let's go ahead. Now, here's the thing. Even though I'll be dealing more with the topics that are presented on the polls starting next week, doesn't mean you can't ask your questions. As you guys see, there are a lot of people here in the comments. They're reading the comments. They can answer your questions too. So don't be afraid of that. First topic, why should you set a standard in your yard and stick to it? Give me one quick second. Hold on. Where are we? I forgot to share the live. Also, if you guys are on Facebook, make sure to go ahead and share the live. There are some groups that used to take my lives, and I noticed now all of a sudden they're not letting them go through. Don't worry about it. We're not worried about anything. And I get it. I'm not your typical bully guy, but that's okay. Hold on. Let me get this shared out. First off, bam. Share the news feed. Boom. And let's see what else we got here. If you are on Facebook, the best thing to do is to join in. Get it? I'm not your bully. Hey, it's showing my words. That's weird. But yeah, if you're on Facebook, best thing to do is to join from YouTube so I can see your comments to make it a lot easier. XL bully. And we're about to get into the first topic in just a second. And let's see, TBKC official homepage, and then one more in our group. Giant. There we go. All right, there we go. Oh no, hold on, one more. Bully. Why is it not coming up? There we go. That's not it. Bam. There we go. All right. So yeah. So make sure to hit like. Make sure to, and then share out if you choose. So first topic: why should you set a standard in your yard and stick to it? How important is your personal yard standard for your vision? This came from Taki Williams. If you have a kennel partner, or you are a newer breeder, I think you should definitely take the time to write out what it is you're looking for, what your goals are. As we've discussed before, dogs are broken into three categories. Their temperament, which is made up of various drives and the thresholds within those drives. Their look, their appearance, their structure, whatever it is you want to call it, their conformation, and then their ability. Those are the three things that separate every breed from every other breed. So when you get involved in a specific breed, bullies, German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois, Poodles, Chihuahuas, whatever, the best breeders are going to focus on those three aspects: temperament, ability, and the overall look or conformation of the dog. That can include color, whatever it is. Those are always going to be your best breeders. And they will reach the end game is to reach a point where they are all equal in priority. So I believe that if you have a kennel partner or you are a newer breeder, you should take the time to really look at dogs, go to shows, visit other dogs that you see, other breeds that you see. The breed that you're involved in. If you could have the opportunity to go to a show or go to another breeder that's breeding the breed you're in this case, let's say we're talking about XL American bullies, take the time to go do that. Come up with your own idea of what it is you want to see when it comes to temperament, ability, and the overall look of the dog, conformation, structure, whatever you want to call it. With it being a newer breed and you being a newer breeder, one of the things I advise is to read over your breed standard from try to pick like your three biggest registries. So ABKC, UKC, and I don't know, I see BRC a lot. So read over their breed standard, get an idea of what the whole concept of the dog is, and then make sure you breed accordingly, and make sure that whatever your vision is. Some people will say your vision should be the written standard. That's just not true. That doesn't exist with any breed on the planet. The written standard is not a vision, it's a goal for those who breed for the show ring, those who are judges in the show ring, those who are attending the show ring, to kind of keep everybody in the show ring on the same page. Outside of the show ring, you're not breeding for the written standard. You're breeding for breed type. So if I want larger German Shepherds or larger Rottweilers or larger, I like the double XL version of the style of the XL. You still need to maintain breed type. So when it comes to the bully, we know that you're looking for a. Actually, that's a good thing to get into. We know for the bully, what are you looking for when it comes to breed type? You're looking for, and I'm not talking about the written standard, I'm talking about the overall breed type of the dog. So we know we want a head that is larger in proportion compared to other breeds when you put it on the bully body. We know we're looking for a dog that tends to be wide compared to, when it comes to comparing it to other dogs, it tends to be wide compared to its height. It tends to be have a larger head for the body. That head tends to be a block, bulky, not a circle like a bulldog. We know we don't want eyes that are bulging. We know we want a fairly short muzzle. I think they say 1/3 of the size of the overall head. So we want a fairly short muzzle, but it's still a noticeable muzzle. We know we want a blocky, wide muzzle. We know we want a wide chest. We know when the dog stands up and you're looking at it from foot to the bottom of the chest across and then back down to the other foot. If you're dealing with the pocket or the XL, from the pocket to the standard to the classic, the XL, you want that dog to be a square to a wide rectangle. We know we're looking for people like to say short back. Well, nobody should be breeding dogs for short backs. So, but we do know we want a more compact back, which comes along with most bull breeds, because the purpose of the compact square body when you're looking at the dog from the side. So you go from the foot to the shoulder, across to the back hip, back down, should resemble a square, more of a square than a rectangle. We know that we want the shoulder blade of the dog to be about the same length as the upper arm when you're looking at the dog. We know from the withers to the elbow and from the elbow to the ground should be about the same distance, or slightly, slightly longer from elbow to ground. What else fits in with the breed type of the American bully? Cropped ears. Although that shouldn't have an effect. That was a joke. What else do we know? We know we want tight feet, but that's pretty much most dogs. We know that kind of covers the breed type of the American bully, whether it's pockets, standards, classics, or XLs. But within that I just stated, you need to understand that breed type. So let's say the show ring is for the XL is 20 to 23 inches. Most show breeders breed towards a smaller set of that, closer to the 20 to 21, 22 inches. You decide, I want 40-inch dogs. I want them big. Okay, cool. But those ratios should still be close to what I was just stating when I gave you the measurements and the overall breed type of the dog. That shouldn't change whether you're breeding pockets, classics, standards, XLs, or even double XL styles or smaller versions of the pocket on the other end. Those ratios should be about the same. When I spoke on the shoulder blade, the withers to the elbow to the ground, looking at the front, shoulders wide set apart, so that the dog is wide. There's room for that chest to expand in there. If you look at a lot of dogs, they've got shoulders that are wide, but they have zero chest. They're almost built like a kite, especially in the XL world for some reason. You want that deep, that drop. So even like when you talk about breed type and that drop, we know when we look at the average correctly bred American bully that does have breed type, if you notice their chest drops to right about, if you look at the dog from the side, their chest will drop to just about the elbow, maybe even a little bit more. When it starts going further than that, dog's overdone or fat. But right to that elbow area, maybe even a little bit more. That's all that makes up what the breed type of our breed is, regardless of what class you breed. Your vision as a breeder needs to be within that breed type. You know, if you choose to get involved in the show ring, then your vision needs to be within the written standard parameters that are given to you. So I would say, as a kennel, because what was the question? Why should you set a standard in your yard and stick to it? You should stick to it so that you know what you're dealing with. A lot of times we as humans, and I notice it more and more as time goes and we get into new generations of society, people like to say they changed their mind. You didn't change your mind, you quit. People like to come up with excuses of why they couldn't. So when you're breeding, you need to have something set so that you can aim for it. If you do change your mind, you need to be honest. And the change of mind has to be because I found a better idea or a better vision than what I initially had. If you're changing your mind because of what you're stuck with, that's not vision. That's not you changing your mind. That's you quitting. You're failing. That's what that is. So as a breeder, you should have a standard set for your yard. If you have, like my cousin and I, we're kennel partners. We don't have anything in writing, but we talk a lot. So we're on the same page as far as what our goals are. If you're a new breeder or you've got a kennel partner, I would advise, even though my cousin and I haven't, that you write down, what am I looking for when it comes to the head? What am I looking for when it comes to the muzzle? What am I looking for when it comes to the weight, the height? What is it I'm looking for? For us, I'll be honest, a breed standard for ABKC goes 20 to 23 inches. For us, I want a larger dog than that. I don't want to walk Cardi Bulls like right around 20, about 21 inches. King of Diamonds like 27 inches. We don't need a dog as tall as him, but I want my males to be around 24 inches. I want my females to be around 22 to 23 inches. I want my males to go from 24, 23 to 25 inches. That's what we're looking for in our breedings. As far as the weight, not concerned about the weight. I just want the breed type that I described for you guys earlier. Now, whatever weight that gives, cool. Average dog, that height that I just gave with the measurements that meet the breed type of the American Bully, it's gonna probably be anywhere from 130 to 140 pounds, maybe a little more. So you do want to have not necessarily a standard, but a vision for your yard. And it is extremely important so that you know when you are off mark. If I'm about to miss my goal, if my goal is this way, but my last litter came out this way, then I know I need a dog to breed to that's going to switch it back to this direction. So you should have a goal. Let me go through the comments and see what we got, and we'll move to the next topic. Be very selective and be careful who you sell to. Yes. That was 3 days ago. I'm hoping she's not pregnant. I would always agree with what Belinda said right there. You always want to be selective and be careful who you sell to. And Zarat to say ABKC sent in papers in November. Haven't heard anything. Called, no person answering. Email. So it's all over the place. Belinda, have you been able to get a hold of ABKC recently? See, I haven't had a need to contact them recently, and we haven't had issues with getting papers. Not everyone can handle a dog like that. I even showed some of mine. Just had to check them when I got them there. Exactly. ABKC is like 10 weeks behind. Okay, providing all dogs are already registered and in your name. So things kind of need to be in place beforehand. Bully Brad Kennel said, Pitbull Bell, I agree with you. I have to be aware of who I'm selling to, not just for a bad home, but if they're not prepared for a hot dog, they would. So now that I would agree with. If a dog is hot, definitely be, aware of who you are selling to. Especially for pet homes. Breeders, if the breeder, you want to quiz them, and know what it is what's on their yard and what it is they're breeding to. But they should be experienced. I wouldn't put, a dog that is hot in the hands of somebody that is not experienced, especially if they plan on breeding or they've got children, anything like that. Smooth said, "What's wrong with 3 hour lives?" Man, I got a family, dude. Brainiac said, "Last week I was listening to the live in the car when you started talking about the mom licking the pup's butthole. My wife gave me that. This is the shit you listen to face." Tell her, hey, this is what dogs is all about. No, I have 3 hour live, man. What? You guys like the 3 hour live? It just seems like it would be difficult if you missed the live to come back and watch. But maybe we'll stick to the routine as it is. My band dogs just did their second natural tie. There you go. Good job, Rose. Congratulations. Hopefully it takes. Their first one was this morning. Let's see. I shared it in the TBKC page. If you share directly to TBKC, it'll go through. If you share from a post content, okay, post content can't be seen and will be declined. Got you. Youngstown, Ohio is in here. What's up, BBK Bailey? Share the YouTube link in TBKC. That is what I did. Cool. Thank you. Eric says, smash that like button. Yes, hit the like button, you guys. If you're on Facebook, share it out. I can't see the numbers on Facebook right now. It looks like on YouTube, we're at 44. Luna's in the house. What's up, Luna, with Mystic Moon Bullies? I haven't seen you in here in a minute. Let's see. Belinda said, that's what I'm talking about, Eric. I always immediately drop live chat, like in copy link and share. Rose said, I'm keeping first pick female, and I'll be placing 3 other pups, 2 of my uncles. See, and that's cool, because especially with you breeding band dogs, you get time to really watch, the temperament, and that gives you the opportunity to be hands-on with them and work them as you need. So that's dope. Bullies, because to me, if you're gonna breed band dogs, they need to be within your reach so you can really know what you're working with and what you're producing. Is breed type different from class to class, though? No. The breed type from the pocket all the way up into the XL is the exact same. The only difference, even when they make changes, which they probably will end up doing to the XL, as far as the written standard, the breed type won't change. The breed type of the breed from regardless of class is the same. It changes when it comes to the written standard, and it only changes for the height. Other than that, everything is the same. You'll hear, I had a dude, was it earlier this week or last week, was running his mouth about classic XLs, and there's no such thing as that. And he was saying that, height is not the only determination in class. It's also the build or frame of the dog. That's bullshit. If I stop feeding my XL today and it withers down to 5 pounds, it's still an XL. It's not a classic all of a sudden. It's still it's just a malnourished XL. So just like if I start overfeeding my pocket, it doesn't all of a sudden become an XL. It just is an overfed fat pocket. So class is always divided by height. That's not just with the American Bully. That's with all breeds. What's weird with the American Bully is that we have 2 that are the same height, which is the classic and the standard. And before we even had the extreme, they were all the same height. So that's 3 different classes of one, and within one breed that's the same, within a breed that's the same height. That is not normal to the dog world. But even with the classic and the standard, like I always say, every breed on the planet has a classic style dog. So not too sure what the reasoning is in having a classic class. There's always thinner versions of the Rottweiler, thinner versions of the Pit Bull. Typically, it's your working dog. Sometimes it's just a smaller, leaner bred dog. But there's a classic class or a classic style in every breed, just like there's a double XL style in every breed. You don't necessarily need a class of it. The double XL is just the XL, but it's taller. The classic really is just the standard, but it's leaner. But that it is what it is. Let's see here. Let's see. Exactly. I agree 100%, Belinda. A wide chest desired, but deep chest is important for breathing. Exactly. Deep chest is very important for breathing. But and I know you've seen them, those XLs that person say, look how much chest, and you look at it and it's wide. There's no depth to it. It's like they're just built like this, like a Dorito chip or something flying at you that's been thrown at you. Um, and that's crazy. And they'll still talk about how much chest it has. There has to be that drop in the chest. And that's what I was saying. Part of the breed type of our breed, and it's not just our breed, it's a lot of breed. The main thing that separates our breed is the width. But part of the breed type of our breed is that chest floats, the bottom of that chest, that rib cage, I should say, floats right around the elbow of the dog, maybe even a little bit below. When you start getting too far below or too far away, that's when you're falling out of breed type. Let's see. Belinda said, I hate you get limited commentary. I have to break up comments and then people are lost. Because I'm behind you guys. Actually, I'm catching up though. Hold on. I'm right behind you. Exactly what I was just said about deep chest. They can't breathe if their chest isn't deep and cuts off at shoulders or just past. I agree. One of the reasons that your original Staffy bulls and bull terrier, fighting breeds were crossed with hounds was to get that depth of chest for more stamina and more lung. Let's see. Eric says, set the standard, but be honest with yourself and realize when adjustments need to be made. Exactly. When adjustments need to be made and why you made the adjustments. 44 people. Hit that like button, you guys. Do a deep chest have A-frame or H-frame? A deep chest can have both. A-frame and H-frame is based off the shoulder set. So with the A-frame, it just means typically the shoulder set is incorrect and causing the legs to kind of go out a little bit. H-frame meaning that the legs are going, you have your shoulders are set and the legs are going straight underneath. So when you look at the shoulder, the leg, then the feet should be directly set under that shoulder. They're bowing out. That's not a good thing, which we're seeing that in a lot of XLs and even pockets nowadays. And those feet should be directly under the shoulder. So it should just be a straight line going straight down to the feet. And then you want the dog, of course, to be wide because that's what we breed. I say H. My dogs are anyway nice, wide, and deep, very well proportioned. There you go. Then you have dogs that are wide, somewhat deep, but barrel chested. Exactly. Mystic Moon said, me asking 20 questions to a buyer actually eases them because they know I'm serious and not a scammer or puppy mill or backyard breeder. I think that's the best way to go about it. I think when you contact a breeder for puppies, you should have a million questions, even studying. When you are a breeder and you're contacted by someone, again, I think you should have a million questions because nobody wants their dogs. A true breeder does not want their dogs going into the wrong hands. Though I have lost track of people, I always want to kind of have that feeling that I won't. I've just been doing it for so long, there's no way to avoid it. But I think as a breeder, the breeder should be asking you questions too. Bully Brad Kennel said, we here enjoying the 3 hours. And for people that missed, do split it up during the day's break. Lunch break, 3 hours are good if you learning. I feel you. We'll go ahead and stick to the same format. Mystic Moon said, as you should, any breeder. Belinda Pitbull Bell said, Mystic Moon, as you should, any breeder has an issue with questions and you wanting to learn, that's a problem. Exactly. But you'd be surprised how many people I talk to and they say when they get a pup from a breeder and they call that breeder, the breeder's just an asshole to them all of a sudden. Someone not willing to teach you doesn't need to be selling dogs. I agree. Mystic said, Pitbull Bell for sure, my friend. All right, where are we? Let's see here. Ashley, and XL pockets. Yeah, it's people make up stuff as they go. Sometimes I get their point. They're just wrong. Other times they're just making up shit as they go because that's probably what the litter they're about to have, and that's the only way they can describe it. So they want to pretend it exists before it lands. Castro said, is there ever a scenario where you would keep a female and male off a litter? Yes. Not to be bred towards each other, but to use for other dogs? Yes. Matter of fact, we have a few breedings that are mapped out that we plan on keeping a male and a female. Now, it doesn't mean both the male and female will be bred, but our plan is to pick what we feel is the best male, we feel is the best female, keep that in our yard, and then use it accordingly as we're, refining the blood that we're working with, the bloods that we're working with. But yes, I definitely would do that. Keep two, one male, one female, and like I said, it doesn't mean you're going to breed either one of them. Any dogs in your yard. It just means that you want the options available to you. Um, Wait, what? No, okay. Something else in there. It wasn't just XL Pocket. It was XL Pocket Extreme. Yeah, there's crazy titles coming out right now that people are just throwing out there. I want to say it was an Extreme Pocket XL. I want to say that's the word I heard was Extreme Pocket XL. And when I see stuff that's that crazy, the one situation of the XL Classic, I understand where he's coming from. He's just wrong, so I'll leave a comment. When you start talking about Extreme Pocket XLs, I'm just gonna keep scrolling. I might do a laugh emoji, but I'm gonna keep scrolling. There's always in some breedings to keep make and female out the same litter. Keep male and female out the same litter. Yes, exactly. I agree. Never heard anyone saying anything about an XL Pocket. I think he was just contrasting how stupid people sound. No, it's out there. I mean, when you see them, they tend to be standards. That's what I've noticed. When I've seen people talk about an XL Pocket, it was what I would have called a standard. La Fala, I know is like, what, bro? See, some of the people here have seen it. 75% of big breeders will not take time to teach you even after buying a dog. That's crazy. I have people to this day that will randomly call me and have dogs from me, actually dogs from me that are no longer living. Um, we're talking like, you know, 15, 20 years ago, and they'll still call me about new dogs they have then. Once you get a dog from me, it is what it is. Either you've gotten a dog from me, so that cements the relationship. You studded to my dog, that cements the relationship, or you just cool and that cements the relationship. As a breeder, I'm gonna always take the time to help answer questions. And even growing up, I only know a few breeders that weren't that way. Most of them were that way. So it's not even something that should be unique. Unfortunately, it's becoming that way now. Let's see. Heart and Soul, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Rose, weight pull and fetch opens my boy up real good. I'll give him 10 minutes to rest before I give him water. Yeah, because you're dealing with performance breeds, you want to make sure that they learn that they learn the mental aspect of how the process that their body takes them through on cooling down. That way, when you are out there and you working them, you don't get they don't panic. Panicking is what causes a lot of dogs to overheat, along with overheating. Slay the pig, exactly. You know what I'm talking about? That flat, wide-chested dog. Someone mentioned it in one of the bully groups, and I questioned it. XL Pocket. They got snippy. I just left the convo where it was. Yeah, I mean that. Unfortunately, that's our world we're in, especially with bullies. I give him a good rub down too for his joints. Yes, the rub down is very important when conditioning or after working a dog. You want to loosen up and lubricate those muscles. That's good you brought that up because it's often something I often forget about when I'm talking. I do it when I'm working with the dogs, but I often forget about when I'm talking about conditioning and things like that. But it is definitely something good. I actually just recently had a guy send me a video. No, I say recently, I'm talking probably within the last year. Um, Sent me a video on a Greyhound racer doing a rub down, did a dope job. That's actually where I learned to do it. I was volunteering at a Greyhound rescue. And that was where I kind of learned the details of giving a rub down. I knew a few people that were into game dogs and were very deep into their rub downs and how they did them. but it is actually very good for the dogs. I always love 3-hour lives. You already know I'm taking notes. What show? KJ said, what do you think is better for strengthening patterns in a kennel, beach sand or gravel rock? I think gravel rock is very good. If you're gonna put it in the kennel, I wouldn't. The only issue I have with beach sand is this. Part of what I plan on doing when we move is gonna utilize beach sand, but the dogs won't be staying in it. Beach sand can attract. Actually, I shouldn't say attract. I don't know how they get there, but beach sand can get you a lot of like sand flies, different little things that tend to live in sand. For whatever reasons, those things don't tend to be in gravel rock, and gravel rock you can rinse down real easy. So if there is something, insects, whatever in there, it's easy to drown them out with gravel rock. So I would use gravel rock. The best form of it is pea gravel. To me, that is one of my favorite to build up the passions on young dogs. Other than that, raise their food bowl is another great thing that you can do. Raising their food bowl will help out a lot. But I would say if you can run with fine pea gravel, and that's about the best you can get, in my opinion. Eric said breeders definitely have more responsibilities to a buyer other than just selling a dog. Bam. Inquiries about their dogs, health questions, and possibly bullies in general, but there are limitations. I agree. The wildlife said they should, but they don't. Sinatra, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining in, man. Home of the XL pocket right here. Betsy, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Eric Maxwell said 1-8. I'm not sure what that is. You guys be having side conversations I don't know about. Let's see. When are you dropping a furry XL litter? Exactly. A furry XL pocket standard classic double XL miniature American bully. Let's see. What else do we got going on here? All right, so we're gonna go ahead. Let's get back to the next topic. Where are we? All right, next topic. Do you cull? From Belinda King Moore. Do you cull? If so, do you know when and or why you should hard cull? All right. Since we're on social media, I'm gonna answer this in a more current Daryl Thrower bully breeder way of answering. We sell mostly to pet homes. We don't deal with a lot of breeders. That has always been our goal. So now when we were dealing with working dogs, we sold mostly to people that work dogs. When it comes to bullies, we sell mostly to pet homes. Luckily, from our years in breeding, we have had litters where not all the pups went to working homes. And so there would be some left over that were a little watered down or didn't have the same drive we necessarily were considered, and they would go to pet homes. That built a clientele that came in perfect when we got into bullies. So for us, there's no need for any culling when you're talking about like hard culls. If you're talking about culling where it's getting the dog spayed and neutered, and when I say, okay, so just let's start over. Culling means basically you are, in my time, it meant you would saw a pup, you realize it didn't have what you were looking for, or off jump it had a deformity, you put that pup down, ended its life. The more pet homes got popular, the less need there was for culling. So the more pet homes get popular, culling's not a necessity. Unless you're, now if you're part of that bully pyramid scheme, then you're not culling anything. You care less. You just want to get your dogs out to breeders. So I look at it as, with so many pet homes being available, America's love for dogs, as long as there's no deformities, there's no need for hardcore culls. Now, they also have what they call a soft cull, meaning that the dog is spayed or neutered. You as a breeder will let a person know, look, I don't want this dog bred. I have a contract. Part of the contract is when this dog hits a specific age, I need you to get it fixed or spayed or neutered. 9 times out of 10, if that person doesn't do that, that breeder's going to call them, threaten them, talk shit to them. You were supposed to get the dog cold. You didn't. I'm going to sue you. But 9 times out of 10, the breeder's not going to sue anybody. And that's why I just prefer to deal with pet homes where I'm not worried about it. So, I call what probably me and you's definition of culling is, nah, I don't. There's no need to. We don't have deformities. We don't have dogs that are overly lazy. We don't have dogs that are overly aggressive. We got a well balanced thing going when it comes to temperament and even the structure. As far as your second question, if so, do you know when and or why you should call? Why would you hard call? To me, in the American Bully community, it would be deformities, whether that deformity is mental or physical. Meaning that, let's say you have a pup and he's just extremely aggressive, attacking other litter mates, his mom, the whole nine. I can't picture that being in the American Bully community, but let's say you had that. That may be a reason for a call. Or find somebody like me that won't mind getting a dog from you like that. But I would say that might be a reason for a call. Mainly, I would say deformities. But even now, you look on the news and people are having these dogs that were born with no legs, and then they build them little tripods and wheels to walk on. And we're just in a feel sorry for me world, you know. But as long as those people don't breed the dog, then I think that's what it's more about. So I think culling is kind of a thing that's being phased out by today's society, because so many people will take any kind of dog, and as long as you as a breeder aren't having any kind of dog, shouldn't be an issue. Next topic: what flaws is the hardest to correct, and when do you start over your program? A lot of that now, you guys know that there are band dog breeders a part of these lives. There are also American Bulldog breeders a part of these lives. Pit Bull breeders are part of these lives. A lot of what flaws that are hard to breed out are based on the breed. There's no set thing because we have so many breeds. What I will say is this: those things that are against the species a lot of times tend to be hard to breed out, especially flaws that can be from multiple reasons. For example, high rears. The appearance of the high rear could come from weak pasterns, sway backs, stiff stifles, shoulder set that's so far apart that the upper part of the dog kind of sinks in rather than having, just that smooth run from the neck into the back. So you really need to know what it is you're looking at. What I will say to any breeder is this: most problems can be fixed within 3 to 5 generations of you breeding away from that problem. If you're not making a conscious effort to breed away from that problem, in 2 to 3 breedings, you might accidentally bring it back in. But I personally think, and when I say 3 to 5 generations, I say the worst problem you can correct within 3 breedings, and then with another 2 breedings, you can lock in that or lock out what you're correcting. So 3 to 5 generations, you should be able to fix any flaw. The problem is the average breeder doesn't stick to it. The average breeder starts getting sidetracked with what they want to breed for. Remember, you guys, it might go off in about 20 minutes and I'll be right back. For some reason, it hasn't been doing that though lately. The other thing is with our breed, because there was so much focus on big head, big this, extreme that, we've cemented in a lot of flaws that really the ability to get rid of it is based on how badly it's been bred in your line or your dog for how many generations. So, with the American Bully, high rears can easily be bred into this breed for 5 generations in back of your pup. You know, underbite should be, and some breeds are hard to get rid of. And the American Bully, it should be fairly easy. Shouldn't be a lot of it. From the XL Giant page. You know what, Luna? I just got a message from you. You should be in the other. Okay, bam, there you go. But you shouldn't be getting removed from the new one. But so when it comes to what flaws are the most difficult to breed out, those tend to be flaws that you see a lot within your breed. Because, so for example, typically, if I want a big head, I've got a small head dog. I just breed to a dog with a large head. I keep the pups off of it that have a big head, and then I have to make a conscious effort for at least 3 generations that I'm focused on large heads, and then I lock it in. That's just how you breed. So, what we have a bad habit of doing is I want a large head, so I breed to a dog with a big head. I get the pups off of that with a big head, but now I want more muscle. I breed to a dog that's got more muscle, but I totally forgot about large heads. That's what happens with the American Bully and a lot of the inexperienced breeders that are within our breed. So the objective in getting rid of flaws is the difficulty in getting rid of flaws is based on how badly that flaw is bred into your dog within the last 3 to 5 generations. To fix any flaw, some flaws, it might take me 5 generations to fix this flaw. It might take me 3 generations. It might only take you 1 generation, 1 breed, and bam, you're good. And now it's just time to move on and make sure you don't breed it back in. That's because we're at the beginning phases of this breed. So it really has to do with the traits within your pedigree and knowing those traits in your pedigree with as far as how easy or how hard it is to breed a flaw out. There are some features with dogs that, you know, are just a dominant trait. Some are a recessive trait, but even that changes from breed to breed. So that's why it's a difficult, and we've kind of gone over that before, but it's a difficult topic because this is a new breed. And so much of what is wrong was cemented into it, and so much of what was right was cemented into it. So you really want to pay attention to the generations that has been bred into your dog, or forget about it and just make a conscious effort to breed away from it for 3 to 5 generations. 3 generations to get it out, 5 generations to lock it out, I should say. Let's see. Steve Leduc said, at what age do you start looking for studs for your females? What is your process for choosing them? I would say when it comes to a female, it's time for you to look for a stud. Start looking when she hits a year old. That's going to give you a general idea of her, of who and what she is. Once she hits about 2 years old, you pretty much got who and what she is. At that point, you want to definitely start looking at your studs. Base it off of the dogs you know that were used to create your female, the mom and the dad, and as much information as you can get on their pedigrees. As you're looking for studs, you want to make sure it complements. Here's the thing. I'm used to breeding so that dogs complement each other, meaning they're locking in these traits that I like. You get into bullies and you're constantly fixing, you're constantly bettering. So that's the main thing. When you get into bullies, you want to make sure that whatever you breed to, however you breed, you're bettering it. And that's why you want to wait till your female's right around 2 years old so you can really see who and what she is, temperament, ability, and look, conformation, whatever it is you want to call it. And then you can make those adjustments. So when she turns a year old, start looking for those males. Start talking to various stud owners. That way you can kind of be ahead of the game and ask them questions of what you're seeing at that point. Then she hits 2 years old, and now you can really start saying, okay, this is who and what she is. Now it's time for me to find the stud. And he needs to complement your female. He needs to complement what's good about her, and he needs to enhance what is not good about her, whatever her negatives are. And that has to be the main thing you're looking for. You know, these are the things I love about her. That male needs to reflect that. Damn, is it raining? And then these are the things that I don't like about her. That male you need to make sure that male doesn't have any of those traits. And that's all breeding is matching traits when it comes to the temperament, matching traits when it comes to the ability, and matching traits when it comes to the look of the dog. And so that's how you want to focus that. Let's see. I'm gonna get back into the comments. Slayer the Pitch said 3 hour lives are great for some of us. That's the drive home from work living in California. Keep it up, Daryl. Thank you. All right, we're gonna keep it. We're gonna stick with the format the way it is. If we finish early, we finish early. If we don't, we don't. Mike B said, I'm just playing Bell. Carter said, always keep the top male and female from a litter at least a year, then decide if one or both stay or go. That, you know what? I didn't even think about that because we're talking about keeping them. And that's actually the person that asked that question. That's a lot of times what people will do. Once they've kept them about a year, they've gotten a good look at them. They see where their program's headed. Now they know, okay, I need the male. So I'll go ahead and get rid of the female. Or I need the female, so I'll go ahead and I'll get rid of the male. That's the way the average person does. And that's why you want to have dogs that you don't want to get to the point where I get rid of dogs that are a year old, but I've never spent time with them. You see what I'm saying? That's why you want to have you don't want to have so many dogs on your yard that you can't spend time with dogs that you may get rid of as adults because you find you don't need them. So Carter, that was a great point. Let's see here. Alan said he's got a Super Saiyan Pocket American Bully. See, Ashley said Furry XL is like a Saint Bernard. I've actually seen one, and that's what it looked like. It was mixed with. Just got home from work. What happened? Just got home from work. Glad get to catch a live. What's up, Trey? Thanks for joining in, brother. Day One Bully said, what do you use for flooring in the whelping box for newborn puppies to keep the whelping box clean? I personally, I think I spoke on it last week. I personally like towels and blankets. I like to keep it simple and use and make sure I have a bunch of them because I need enough that I want to keep it wrapped around the side of the kiddie pool, and then I want to build a upside down dome so that it kind of looks like a den, how pups will be born. I keep them in that environment probably for about just till they start really, really walking. But while they're scooting around, so probably till about 2 to 4 weeks. Well, I don't think I keep them in there a total of 4 weeks. Probably about two. That first 2 weeks, I want them in that environment so that when they're scooting around, they're using those back legs on those inclines. Once they have gotten out of that phase, then I go ahead and and then the mom also should be doing a lot of the cleaning. So a lot of times if I'm keeping her with them, it's automatic. If I'm not keeping her with them and she's separated from the pups, and a lot of times I'll take the pups out, open it up, let her go in, and hopefully her instincts will still kick her into, cleaning up the area. But I try to keep that washed and then move on to the next batch. And that's how I do it. I keep it clean, keep it washed. And I just have a whole bunch of old blankets and old towels, and I create a dome. And that's how I keep young pups that are newly born. And that way they're getting traction. That way they're building the unite. Because even now, when we talk about hip dysplasia, a lot of vets aren't convinced that it's genetic. Some feel it's the environment that they're being bred in. It's a back and forth argument. Some feel it's a little bit of both. But I do believe environment is a major factor in hip issues because you don't have animals in the wild being born with hip issues. And if you notice, most predators, especially in the canine world, they are in a dome, in a den that kind of domes out. And if you watch even your female, what does she do when she gets in there? She starts walking around, that tight circle. And then she kind of sits there in the middle. She constantly is pushing against the walls. She's trying to create that dome, but she can't because we have that hard floors, even though we sat our whelping box or whatever it is, there's only so much indentation she can make. Dan, what do you use for? Okay, so that's that. My answer to that. But also, day one bullies, look into. There are now whelping mats that have traction that are good for pups. I've heard. Um, yeah, so that's what I would say when it comes to that. Mike B said, okay, he's talking to Pitbull Bell. No doodle, please. Doodles are extremely smart and drivey. They are. I try to help everyone if they come to me really wanting to learn and I see them implementing what's being taught. That is one thing I will say you'll hear breeders talk about a lot is they give somebody advice and the person just does not use it or moves on to the most shortcut advice that they can get. So I get you when it comes to that. Frank Gutierrez said I have a 3/4 razor's edge and 1/4 bullseye and breeding to a 50% edge, 50% Louis V. Would I get 75% razor's edge? Excuse me. All right, so you got this 3/4 razor's edge, 1/4 bullseye. But see, here's the only thing I don't understand. I don't consider razor's edge a bloodline. I consider it a kennel. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't bullseye from razor's edge? And then I have no idea who. So you're saying I have 3/4 razor's edge, so 3/4 is 75%. 1/4 bullseye, and breeding to a 50% edge, 50% Louis V. I don't know what Louis V is. 50% breeding to a 50%. So this dog is 50% edge. That dog's 3/4 edge. And then you're going. So I mean, it looks like it's putting you right around the same ratio of razor's edge. I just don't know how those other dogs fall, but it looks like it's putting you right around the same, due to the fact that the other dog you're going to is 50% edge. But so you're going to be somewhere between 50 and 75% edge. Although I will say this, Frank, I wouldn't worry about all that when it comes to this breed. I would not worry about that at all. Most of these bloodlines aren't bloodlines; they're kennels or popular studs. So I wouldn't even worry about that. Focus on the traits in the dogs that you're breeding, and that you're getting the outcome of the traits that you're looking for. Just share the live on Facebook, brother. Tagged you. All right, cool. Let's see here. Pitbull Bell said, if I sell a dog, I will educate till they decide they no longer need, and then fuck up and come back. Exactly. And that's all you can do. Wildlife said, I'm gonna make a video about my opinion, but what do y'all think is the top 3 most influential XL breeders in the industry? It's a good one. Andre Smith, the BGK, did a thing on the legends. I would say the most popular name, so you definitely have to include her, is probably Bossy. But check out his legends video that he did on the BGK, Big Gemini Kennels. It's on YouTube. I want to say it's even in the Giant XL American Bully Breed 2.0 group. But check that out. He did a pretty good job on that. But I would say Bossy definitely has to be one of those that's up there. Ashley said, okay, she's talking to day one. Pitbull Bell. Naheem, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining in. Yeah, we didn't do the live yesterday because of Valentine's Day. Let's see here. Let's go. Boosa Bam is in here. Yeah, better late than never. All right, I'm thinking. Oh, hold on, because I want to see what Belinda said. I will hardcore all but what I need just to build until I get to a certain point. I don't want everyone having and ruining my yard work. See, I agree. That's why I will say I don't know how bully breeders deal with it when majority of their clientele are other breeders. For us, we can always, even if it's not a dog we are going to use, we still know it's a good dog, and we can always put that in the hands of a clientele who just want a good pet or a home guardian. So I would hate to be in, especially this breed, and the only avenue I have to get rid of dogs is impressing or selling to other breeders. Let's see, I haven't had to hard cold for deformity in a long time. One time was full cleft. That makes sense. Um, I just pet home unless it's unhealthy. Agreed. I think that's pretty much where everything is now. Eric said if you're gonna need to do a hard cold, that's an immediate decision. If a pup is born without an anus or organs externally exposed, you know that dog isn't gonna make it. So why let it suffer? Bam, there you go. Um, let's see. Belinda said no. Absolutely, some dogs don't need to live, but absolutely have it fixed. If petting it out. Yes. And that's my main thing is if it's a deformity that happens to take place, that's when I will be looking at an actual hard call. What are your standards for a hard call? Let's see. But I also hard call rather oversaturate until I get my breeding to a certain point. Truly don't want everyone having some things. I'm been called stingy. So what? Exactly. Actually, I had one hard call, and that was because mom ripped stomach wide open. Ooh, while working the umbilical cord. I've seen that happen before. Um, I will hardcore for skin issues. That's too much. Who wants to constantly spend money on that? See, that's one of my things. If I detect any type of skin issue, especially at that age, I do believe that's a hard call. Um, Now, let's say the skin issues develop when they get with the pet home or whatever. If somebody calls me about skin issues from a dog, I will let them know do not do that breeding. If you can show me that you got the dog fixed, then we'll work on getting another dog to you. But that is one thing we do not. I have a rule that if a dog hits a year old and it still got allergies, we don't breed it. That's just something we stick with. We do not want to. We don't breed it. If it has allergies up until that point and it grows out of them, then I'm cool with that. I still try to avoid that. I still take note of it. We try to breed away from it, but I don't want to deal with skin issues. The other thing is my cousin and I, and people don't like it, but one of the things we do for allergies, if we detect a dog we feed our diet, we detect a dog may have allergies. Well, first thing we'll do is try to figure out where it's coming from, and we will put them on the cheapest food we can possibly find, pedigree, um, and we'll go cheaper if we need to. But we want to make sure that these dogs are capable of digesting and operating off all the same dog foods I fed when I was young. Old Roy, whatever. We will go ahead and we put them on that simple diet for about 6 months. See if the allergies come out. If nothing comes out, then we know it's something we may have been using before, and we try to figure it out. If a dog has grass allergies, I won't breed it. And I think we do have too many people are breeding allergies into this breed and just trying to cover them up with, Benadryl and all that other shit. Um, Fornies, who wants a dog to suffer? Exactly. I also let mom make natural selection. You got to. Moms will help Cole without you having to worry about it. KJ said, what would you recommend for a 6-month pup that is starting to show easty westy? Not much you can do at 6 months. One, I would try to raise the pasterns of the dog. Sometimes the pup, as the legs go, the pasterns go up, the feet kind of come in a little bit. So I definitely try lifting the food bowl. I would also work on lowering the protein amount that you may be feeding the dog, giving it a better supply of glucosamine, sardines, things like that. You still got time because the dog's only 6 months, so its growth plates aren't going to be connected for another year. So you still have time, but definitely start on it now. Get those pups on, pea gravel, like I was speaking on earlier. Avoid the pups jumping, anything like that. But I would start adding glucosamine, fish oil. Sardines is great for that, to the pups' food. Um, any type of any type of uh any type why am I mind going blank? Chicken feet. Add chicken feet also, for the pup. That can help. And then just make sure that you're giving them that exercise. You don't want it to be too much, but about, I say, 5 minutes, 3 times a day. Get them on make a bed of pea gravel and get the dog running around and playing on that. Next best thing is long grass, mud, sand at a playground, those type of scenarios that are cushiony, getting that dog to operate on those, and then lifting his food bowl, whatever that pup's food is he's eating out of, lifting that bowl, and that should help correct it a little bit. And depending on why it's there, it might fix it. People wouldn't have to fix much if they waited till these dogs were fully mature. 3 years for females, 5 years for males. I agree, but I'm not your typical breeder for money. And that's the main problem with this breed. She said, I am a creator. I like that. Beth would recommend a hard coal. Let's see. Pitbull Bell. Okay, so cool. She's giving advice on the KJ raised feed, check protein, raised bowls, add cod liver. Cod liver oil is also good. Should be about 2 weeks that you do it. She's right when she said 15 days. But the raising the bowl will hopefully help. And also the protein. Don't go high in protein. 18 to 23% is all you need, especially in these thick bone dogs. That's all you need. You don't need the high protein levels. Eric, natural selection is a must unless you're going to step in. When mom starts pushing pup to the side, mom sometimes knows something we didn't recognize yet. Yep, that's 100% true. Let me see here. Rose said California in the house. Belinda said, now if Easty Westy is painful, sand, a huge unfixable problem. Yes, hard, cold. Hopefully you're talking about something you're noticing and not something that's painful or is a huge issue where the dog's like walking with flipper feet. So hopefully it's just something that you're noticing, and just needs to be strengthened. But like I said, Easty Westy is not the same as a weak pastern where you can just build the muscles and strengthen it. Day One Bully said, which one is better, TCI or doing an AI? I've heard TCI. I've also heard AI. Some people like the AI because you can do multiple. Some people like the TCI, and they never get that shit wrong. They just hit it on the mark every time. They've got a good vet that's in tune with, the progesterone tests and things like that. Me personally, I prefer to stick to the AIs. I think that is the closest to being natural, and I would prefer to avoid surgeries. Let's see. People Bell said down phone, not sand. Let's see. Zachariah said the new group doesn't come up in searches. Daryl, I'll send you a screenshot on Facebook. Maybe you can send me a join request. Hold on. Is your name Zachariah on Facebook? It should come up in searches. Facebook has been real shady with me lately. And it should be the same thing. The Giant XL American Bully Breed 2.0. Damn, this dog looks like one of ours. Let me see here. Yeah, it should come up in your searches. Giant XL American Bully Breed 2.0. XL is in parentheses just in case it's making you do a specific. Let me see. Giant, well, you know what? I've already searched it, so it's going to come up. But that's what we're looking at. You getting ready to head back out? Oh, okay. I wasn't supposed to close that out. But here we go. And let me get to the next topic. And then we'll get back in the comments. The dirty stuff waste management, disposable products, and their effects, schedules, what poor practices can do to the dog itself. poor practices when it comes to cleanup can absolutely affect your dog, from giardia to coccidia and all these other things that dogs can get. What parvo? Um, I always use a concoction of, and this is what I always use. I've heard there are better products out there right now. Um, but I always use a concoction of one, get those spray bottles, that not spray bottles, but the what would you call it? The pressure sprayers. Usually they'll hold 1 to 2 gallons, but as long as you can get at least a gallon, you want to have, I always use half a gallon of water. The other half of the gallon would be spick and span, because it kills 99.9% of germs, and then 3/4 cup of bleach. So you want a half gallon of water. So basically, get yourself a half gallon of spick and span, 3/4 cup of bleach, and then fill the other up to another half gallon of water. And then I just spray the whole thing down. Problem is your beginning start. So, for instance, um, your dogs are in the kennel. It's Monday. Your dogs are in the kennel. You should be picking up feces every time you notice it. When I go outside, I pick up feces every time I notice it. You got a lot of dogs, you want to put yourself on a schedule 2 times a day, 3 times a day, then do that. If you go to work, you get up to go to work in the morning, first thing you should be doing, brushing your teeth and then cleaning the kennel. It should be the first thing that you're doing. You need to have a way of cleaning it so that you're leaving as little residue of the shit as possible. And if your dogs are and then also think about how you're feeding your dogs accordingly. Uh, thing is your urine. That day you should be watering down the kennel. When you get home, hopefully you're able to do it while the sun is still out. Water the kennel down, and then I would say 3 days a week. If it's Monday, Thursday, Saturday, whatever it is, but 3 days a week you want to be doing a full clean of the kennel, which means getting the dog out, creating whatever chemical you use to clean the kennel, spray it real good, let it sit 10 minutes, and then bam, hit it with the hose and rinse it down real good. As long as you're sticking to that, your dogs should be fine. Spick and span, things that advertise killing 99.9% of germs, often don't kill parvo. Bleach kills damn near everything. And that's why you want 3/4 bleach in your solution. But as long as you stick to that, you should be good when it comes to cleaning up your kennels. Now, there are products out there that are extremely good. Luna, who was in here earlier, told me about one earlier I think it was last week, she was telling me about it. There are products that you can use that come with tablets. I think the one she was talking about either costs 80 or $100, but it lasts a year. You put the tablet in the water, let the solution go, bam, you start spraying it down, and it lasts a year. But I would definitely look at your setup and how you want. The main thing about a kennel is, how do I want to manage the cleanup? Do I have drainage? Do I have to connect to the sewer? What are the rules and laws in your area? If I'm not getting into it on that aspect, when I rinse it down, where's this water going? You really want to have a good idea of that, so that as you're getting your kennel set up together, the cleaning is as efficient as possible. There should not be smell. You don't want smell, because if I've got smell after a week, imagine the smell I'm going to have after a year. So your cleaning process does need to be thorough. Like I said, on a regular basis, you want to make sure that you are watering things down, especially urine, not poop. You should not be watering poop. If the dog, let's say the dog has bad diarrhea, get the dog out of there, clean that as much as possible, and there are like rubber, almost kind of like a windshield wiper. that you can use, just like a wiper that you can use, and try to get as much of that up as possible into a bucket or some type of not necessarily a bucket, but you can get your, and that's another thing, your regular dust mop, not dust mop, but broom. What's the thing on the broom? The dustpan, right? The dustpan. Your regular dustpans. A lot of times, if you get a good one, you can use that. So let's say the dog has diarrhea. You can use that to kind of get the diarrhea in the dustpan. Dump that, then rinse it down. A lot of problems that people have with their kennel, the dog may have diarrhea and they're just washing it down because it's loose. You don't want to do that. Feces needs to be cleaned up as much as possible. If the dog has feces, you clean it up, but it leaves a stain. You don't want to leave that stain there for that long. Now, if you pick up the poop and there's nothing there, cool. All you got to do is wash down for the evening with the urine and you're good. But if it leaves behind a trace, you need to focus on getting that trace up, using the dustpan to get it in as much of it in the dustpan as possible. Dump that, and then you rinse. Do not rinse feces just because it's loose. That's a problem a lot of people have. Other than that, just look into it. Google. After Luna told me about some of the things that she's used, I think I've heard a couple other breeders recently talking about it. I just have never used it. Haven't had the need to yet. Once we move and we're dealing with more dogs, I'll be looking more into products that are strictly there to clean kennels and keep down, smells and any type of germs and issues. So, but that is my process. If you're just getting started, you've only got a few dogs, half a gallon of water, the other half, 3/4 cup of bleach, and then a half gallon of spick and span. Get that in a compressor, spray it down, let it sit 10 minutes. Once it's sat for 10 minutes, rinse it down. Also with your kennels, you're going to be needing to pick up feces, throw it away. Urine rinses out. If feces leaves a residue, you need to go ahead, scrub that residue, sweep that into a dustpan. And as you're at stores and hardware stores, just look for better and better dustpans that get as close to the ground as possible. Get that into a dustpan and then go ahead, dump that into a bag, get rid of that with the rest of your feces, and then water it down. But you want to be cleaning your kennels, I would say, probably about twice a week. The average person, I think, if they've got a good setup, does it at least once a week. And then go from there. Next topic, and then last topic, nutrition and feed from pregnant females to growing pups and adults in their elder years. So let's go ahead and get through the comments, see what's cracking, and then we will get into that topic. But Zachariah, you should be able to find the new group. It's Giant XL American Bully Breed 2.0. Let's see. I'm home all the time now, so I have that luxury of keeping more than most people. There you go. As she said, I use fitted sheets for the pool. It works well. Fitted sheets do work good. I like to have the fitted sheet go over it first, and then that's when I kind of start stuffing it to make that den. I also do a trick with fitted sheets where I tighten it so that it's like a drum over the pool, and then put the pups on there. That also helps work their back legs and shoulders and getting those joints and everything in place, because I actually did a video that's somewhere on Facebook, but it causes the pup to kind of sink down in it. You don't want them to sink down to the bottom to where it actually touches the bottom, and it causes them to kind of crawl up the side, sideways, different directions. As they go up, they'll also kind of go sideways around it. But it's a good exercise for newborn pups and extremely young that are just starting to get around to get those hips and everything in the right place. Blankets, towels, rugs for traction. I agree. That's my favorite. Eric said, years ago, we would have thrown a few blankets in the corner for a quiet room and get mama used to getting comfortable there before labor. Times have changed. They have. Castor said, should you schedule a C-section on the due date just in case? That way you don't have to waste more money on an emergency C. Yes. When your vet should be able to tell you when they think you should go ahead and schedule it for. So that's the vet you're going to go to, then they should be able to give you a decent date of when you should come in to do it. go to the vet. I would say on day like 55, get an X-ray. If you don't have a vet that schedules you that far out, go to them on day like 55. Ask them. That way they can look at the birth canal, the pup, see what your next step is. The average person does their C-section right around day 61. So you want to be aware of that. 61, 62. I think the average person does them on day 61. But yeah, schedule it ahead of time so you don't have to pay the emergency costs. Or like we have a vet near us where you just call them. You can call them that the day before, I think it is. So definitely try to work that out with your vet, but definitely schedule it ahead of time. If outside in my bitch pen, I keep a thick bed of cedar, they can make a hole. And then after that, they start walking outside in the front to potty. There you go. Now the rest of that blood is Gotti blood. Okay, so who did he name? Now I forgot who he named. Short shot. Those. Okay, so that's Gotti blood. Now Sinatra's somebody that's gonna know a lot about those Razor's Edge. He's been here for a minute. He knows these dogs, the ins and outs. So I'm glad you said that. So whoever asked that question earlier, that's Gotti blood. So in theory, Daryl, that gives you 5/8 edge. So Zachariah said, in theory, Daryl, that gives you 5/8 edge, but that's not exactly how genetics works. It depends on what traits you get from which parents. See, and that's the thing. And so when you're talking about, okay, I've got 75% Razor's Edge, what traits are you really talking about? Are you talking about Razor's Edge the kennel, or are you talking about Razor's Edge because you think whoever was breeding Razor's Edge actually formed a bloodline with it? And that's the thing. Exactly. Names of distant bloodlines mean very little. There's a bullseye kennel and a bullseye. I think you're right. I think I have seen a different bullseye. One of them looks kind of like an exotic. Louis V is a Fax dog pretty much. A Dax dog pretty much. And if that's the case, I think I know who you're talking about. Dax, if I'm not mistaken, will be considered a Gotti dog. Casper, how do you get more dogs than the state restriction allows? You have to get your kennel license. Do you register as a kennel? And then they will allow you. Not sure how that works. Yes, you have to register your kennel. So in California, you can have up to 4 dogs. 4 adult dogs. If they're younger than 6 months, then it's considered an adult. But so in California, you can have up to 4 dogs above the age of 6 months. Anything over that, you have to have a kennel license. You need to register as a kennel. So yeah, that is how you are able to get more dogs. Once you register as a kennel, that gives the state, your local humane society. What are they cooking? That smells good. Your local humane society or whatever gives them the right to show up to your home at any time. They can check your home at any time. Heat Wave, Louis V, all the other wave dogs are Dax, and if not mistaken, have Lucky Lou in them. Okay. There's another one of these weird things. I don't know what those are. Jason Barr, I think Louis V is a Dax son and Fab Phenom sibling. Let's see. Soul Power, aka Gamed Up Kennels. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Says salute to the chat. Maxwell breeder's license, but they will have strict housing requirements in certain states. Exactly. So just look into that before you get going. Definitely look into it and make sure wherever it is you're living is something that is conducive to you abiding by those laws. You do not want to invest in your dogs and then all of a sudden you get shut down for some reason. It does happen. I would absolutely replace the dog upon receipt of fixing the dog with skin issues. Raise the bowl. I think that when we were talking about pasterns, or they can return it to me and I will cull it. And let's see here. Obviously, I have no problem culling calling Peter on you. Let's see the wildlife. I've seen Andre's vid, and I know my opinions on the answer. I want to hear y'all's opinions. I say Anthony's son is the most influential due to creating the dog that made Dre famous. The Rock, and almost all big Merles. The acting and son contribute to a lot of. What dogs do you mean when you say, as far as the Merle aspect? Wildlife. What dogs came from him when you say the large Merles? What are you getting into? Don't touch me. Your feet are dirty. Don't jump up here. Nuh-uh. Go away. Booster Band. Hey, Mikey, get her to kind of run on the grass real quick. Looks like or in her kennel. It looks like her feet are dirty. Booster Bam, is pork good for dog? Pork is great for dogs, but make sure it's cooked. You want to avoid parasites. The wildlife. And now, as far as that, when I was young, we would give dogs pig feet, and we would give them raw pig feet. So I would say if you're using pork, definitely I would not advise doing it raw with the things that we've learned over the years. But also make sure that you're on top of your deworming. But yeah, pork is good, but make sure that it is cooked correctly or boiled correctly. Bossy would be my second choice, though. Good call. Let's see. More people should instead of worrying about losing money. That's the main problem. We even have dogs we've given away for free. Not that we should have, but we kind of. Some people went through some things, and we just decided they were into the dog. I don't think they're scamming us. You know, here, we'll go ahead and give it to you. Especially when we first got into bullies. But I just think people need to kind of get out of doing this for money. And there's nothing wrong with raising your prices, but the money aspect shouldn't affect your breeding. I refuse to feed dogs pork. Yeah, I used to when I fed bones to my dogs. I stopped feeding bones when I got into bullies. But then I used to give them bones. But again, make sure it's cooked if you're gonna do it. Laugh out loud while you say, Bell. Let's see. Strength of pastors. I think that's when Ashley was talking about raising the bull. If you're gonna do pork, thoroughly cook it. Exactly. Booster, if they did, we wouldn't have the problem now trying to fix dogs. Yeah, they definitely weren't calling back then. They were selling anything they could to make money. I can agree. I produce my own dogs, and I wait for them to mature at 2 years old. It's the best way to do it, especially as you're learning your blood. Bell, no way, no pork. FB won't let me leave the Louis V dog group. Kind of weird. Pork carries too many parasites and diseases. I agree. I believe in only practicing natural ties. I agree. And I think, for bully breeders like with us, with King, some of the females we've bred them to are too small to breed to him. So we do AIs. I personally think that you as a breeder should be getting your yard to the point. Cool, you're using all these tools. And to me, that's what a tool is. Dogs that can't breed naturally. But they should still be good quality dogs. Once you start get consistency in your yard, now you want to go ahead and start having those dogs breed naturally. You want those females to start giving birth naturally. Still have that C-section on standby, but that's when you want to start giving it. We eventually, no matter what we're breeding, should have dogs that can breed and give birth naturally when it's all said and done. Busa, even cooked, some parasites live also high in salt and other things. I don't like pork kibble either. Dog stomach stays upset. Yeah, pork can upset the dog stomach. I think as long as you freeze it for, I think it's 2 weeks, you should be good. I know with venison, wild boar, freeze it for 2 weeks. It should kill everything. It's just so many other options other than pork, though. Am I saying it right? Kahaki Sakata. Been watching QBN and just picked up on your YouTube channel. Aloha from Hawaii. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Make sure to subscribe. We go live every Tuesday. The Wildlife said, one of my goals with my XLs will be natural mating and eventually birth. There you go. Watchtower, you got to spell it specifically You got to spell it specifically, whole name. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Let's see here. I'll send screenshot of what it brings up when I search. Yeah, I knew how to spell it. I did it correctly. It shouldn't. You're talking about the group. Should not be that difficult to find. The Giant XL American Bully Breed 2.0. If it's hard to find, then Facebook is really doing us dirty. Wildlife, there's absolutely no reason for XL dogs not to be able to breed and birth naturally. Depends on the size. They have gotten extreme, so it depends on the size. I think there's no reason for XL breeders to not be trying to get themselves to the point where they're giving birth naturally. But it does depend on the size and the range. So you've got these females that can be 20 inches, 19 inches. Then you got a male that's 24 inches, but he's extreme built male, and the females tends to be smaller. That's when you're having the issues. Now, if you have a large female, then it's game over. Yeah, they should be able to handle it naturally. But it depends on the size variation. Is that what I'm saying? Rose, I'm out there every morning picking up poop. I bleach their kennels down 1 time a week. Keep the grass cut. There you go. Let's see. Ashley said copy the link. Wildlife, you have to get to a point of chancing natural until it becomes a natural thing. I agree 100%. You do have to be willing to take that chance. Yet all my dogs were born from C-sections. So, for instance, and I'm glad you said that. So, like Belinda said, your objective as a breeder should be the point of breeding where your dogs are able to give birth naturally. That means you're going to have to admit that one day I'm going to take a chance on it. And like you said, all your dogs came from C-sections. So, and those tend to be the factors that cause us to continue C-sections. We don't want to take that chance. If we have a large litter, then we know, okay, bam, I got a litter of 10 pups. Yeah, then chances are you can go ahead and do the natural breeding and take a gamble. What I would say is this, for those breeding XLs, pockets, standards, whatever you're breeding, band dogs, pit bulls to masters, bull lurchers, greyhounds and pit bulls, for whatever reasons, sections have been done. The best thing you can do is start looking at your breedings. When your dogs are able to breed to each other naturally, you're basically being able to mate naturally. You know you're almost there. Okay. The next thing is looking at the dogs, and if you have a large litter, chances are you're going to be able to have a natural birth. Here's the problem when it comes to American bullies is that there's been so many other breeds mixed in. You can have a dog that's large on the outside, but it has the reproduction tract of a smaller dog. So what you want to do is when you get to the vet looks at your pups. The vet should be able to tell you the size, look at the pups compared to the birth canal and tell whether those pups should be able to fit through there. You're doing this at about 50, 55 days. And then that lets you know, okay, I can go ahead and take a chance. Still schedule that C-section. Still have an emergency vet on standby. Be ready to pay the money that it costs to do what it takes for your female to survive. But we have to get to that point. There is no reason we should continue XLs breeding. Now, you're doing an AI because somebody shipped you semen. That's different. But on your yards, your dogs you need to be getting to a point to where your dogs are able to breed and give birth naturally. If you find that you have a female that for whatever reasons, her birth canal tends to be small, then you're going to want to move away from that and get yourself another female. Stop using her in your breeding. She may give birth, but then it's a gamble. She may give birth to a female that doesn't have that same issue. You know what I mean? But you are going to have to make moves and be honest with yourself, and that you need to get to a point where the dogs can breed naturally. Now, let's say you're breeding XLs, but you have a small litter, a litter of 3. You might want to go ahead and get the C-section. You know what I mean? So, so like I say, be prepared and be prepared to tell yourself that you are at one point going to be taking a gamble. TJ Tactical said, just home. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Smooth Bully said, get you some Wisey Watch. That wash. I think that's the one Luna from Mystic Moon Bullies was telling me about, if I'm not mistaken. These dogs for generations have been AI, and C-sections need to be brought back to more in the wild practice. I agree 100%. I agree we should be pushing and trying natural. There you go. Zachariah, I had to look on Daryl's FB page to find the group. He tagged the page on his FB page. You know what, then? I will go ahead and do that now. That's crazy, though. They're really trying to shut us down. But that ain't happening. Hold on. Let me go and I will do that now, Zachariah. So if you go to the group is called the Giant XL American Bully Breed 2.0. I'm going to put the link in here. Link to group. Bam. There it is there. Is it showing? Damn, y'all got a bunch of comments on behind it. All right, so there it goes. And then I'm going to go ahead and post it on my page also. Bam, I just posted it on my page, and it's the page with Cardi Bull as the profile. Let's see, where are we? All my female dogs do natural births. One, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Eric Maxwell said they were most likely born through C-section due to breeders' impatience. Yes. Some occasions there are drastic size differences between mom and pops, but mostly impatience. I agree. Zachariah, my boy, how are you? Let's see here. Okay, you got a video of it. I have to go to your channel and check it out because I know you've been posting some videos that I haven't seen recently. Rhodes. Almost all major breeders use section there or C-section there. Not going to chance anything. But see, and that becomes a problem. There are some females that shouldn't be bred because it's not in them to be bred. And what happens is when we're not breeding naturally, you know, it's like they say, you don't use it, you lose it. So when we're not breeding naturally and that birth canal is not getting used naturally, the hormones that are required, you know, at the time of giving birth aren't being used naturally. We start to lose those, and then it just becomes a train wreck. Next thing you know, other issues down the line start to take place. Some of those issues will take place in 3 generations. Some of those issues will take place in 3 human generations. The problem is we shouldn't be breeding dogs that get worse and worse over time. And a lot of times that's what happens by us not trying to stick as close to nature as possible. All mine are natural. I have a few males, they get overly excited. And if I'm in a hurry, I'll do an AI, but they get both in one breeding session. There you go. If I'm in a hurry or just no patience for the AI, got you. Eric said, I've been hearing a lot of C-section horror stories lately. I've heard some too. If it isn't needed, don't do it. Way too many risks with anesthesia. I agree. Pitbull Bell said, now the 2 times I've ever used my boys on someone else's dog, I do AIs. 1 AI has always got 7 pups, 3 AI up to 12 pups. And a lot of vets time it wrong. I agree. Vets do time it wrong. The Cardi Bull's first breeding was my first time doing a C-section in my history of breeding dogs. And vet timed it totally wrong. And you have to be aware of that, especially those vets that aren't open on weekends and that date looks like it's going to fall on a weekend, a Sunday type thing. And rather than them telling you to wait till Monday because they know you'll run to emergency, they tell you, oh, just come in Saturday or come in Friday. You got to be aware of those type things, you know. Zach, right here, you my boy. Hope you keep having an easy day, my guy. Let's see. And those cases are the reasons they're cracking on vets because it's illegal and the vets get blamed. In those cases, what do you mean? In those cases are the reasons they're cracking down on vets. Oh, you mean as far as them dying during C-sections? I think that's what you're talking about. What's your plans for kennel flooring in Arkansas? Cement. That's what we want to do is get cement laid in there. Right now, the barn has dirt in it. So we want to get it laid with cement. And then it will be set up in a way that is easy to wash off behind the cement and outside of the actual kennel. So that's what we're got to work on now. Once I get there, kind of mapping that whole drainage thing out. The other thing is because the other thing is a possible septic tank building that. The other avenue is because the house is being set up, the drainage or the sewage and everything is going to be connected to the hunting house that we stay in when we go hunting. I might get all that connected. So that's what we got to figure out right now is how to go about that and what's the best way. Now, Eric Maxwell said, I've heard vet stories prep took forever. Girl, it's kind of glowing. It looks good. It looks good, but it's just, I wasn't ready for it. You got to give us like a warning. My daughter just got her hair did. Eric Maxwell said, I've heard vet stories, prep took forever and lost half the pups, but I'm pretty sure that was an emergency C-section, probably. All right, y'all, gonna get into the last topic, which was, why did I lose track of where I was? Okay, so nutrition and feed from pregnant females to growing pups and adults in their elder years. That is the reason I made that a topic for tonight was because I'm constantly getting asked about it. So we're just going to give a quick run through, and then as you guys are aware, there's a lot of people that can give their advice. When it comes to pregnant females, let's say that's where you're starting. You want to make sure that the protein, if you're feeding kibble, that kibble needs to be 23% and up. The fat intake needs to be about 15% and up. You don't want to get to where you're at 28, 30% when it comes to fat. You don't want to get to where fat's not bad for dogs as the way it is for us. So if you're hitting 17, 20, that's cool. But when it comes to your kibble, you want about, I'd say 25%. I'm going to say 25% protein and up on your females. Excuse me. You're going to start gradually over a 2-week period, switching her to that kibble. A lot of times we don't think about carbs and energy that helps avoid what they call it, hypoglycemia or whatever they call it, basically low sugar. So you want carbs, intake of carbs increased for the mom. These changes need to take place right at around 30 days, that last 3 to 4 weeks of pregnancy. That's when a lot of the changes need to take place. Calcium, if you're feeding kibble, needs to be between 1 and 2%. If you're feeding raw correctly, the dog should get it from the bone. The calcium. Some people increase calcium because they think it's going to help the female produce more milk. Don't make that mistake. You can overload on calcium. Going overboard with calcium is a bad thing, so don't make that mistake. What you're looking for is if you're feeding kibble, you want your calcium to be right around 2%. Phosphorus, which the female will also be utilizing. You want that to be right around 1 to 1.5, 1.6 maybe. But again, don't go overboard on calcium. Don't be adding more calcium and adding calcium supplements and things like that. You can occasionally do cottage cheese, plain yogurt, things like that, once a week or not once a week, every other day type thing. The average dog is good with whatever food kept them healthy. You just want to feed larger amounts, which is about 25% more. You want to gradually make your way up to about 25% more. So by the time she's got about 3 to 4 weeks on her pregnancy, you want to be at 25% more than what she was eating before she got pregnant. And like I said, the last 3 to 4 weeks of gestation is the most important phase in which you want to change that. So you do the breeding. Now you got a month to start increasing that amount. You're basically going to confirm. So I would say you do the breeding, pretend you know she's pregnant. She's got 30 days. Some vets won't confirm till about 40. But what you want to start doing is going ahead that last 3 to 4 weeks, that last 30 days, you want to go ahead and start making sure you increase her intake till you reach. Actually, take that back. So at about 4 weeks, you want to start increasing her food so that you've increased it to about 25% prior. So you can break it up in smaller meals. If you got a female that eat correctly, you can break it up just by add 25% more to her regular meal. I personally think when you have a female that you break it up into two, I would prefer to break it up into 2 meals. So let's say I give her, how would you say, a pound of food, and I'm just throwing out a number that makes it easy. Let's say I give her a pound of food normally. Then about 30 days into, you do the breeding. Then in about 30 days, you want to start increasing her food, break her food into 2 meals a day. And now instead of you feeding her a pound of food a day, you're going to feed her a pound and a quarter. And that's usually enough that she needs. She gives birth to the puppies. And now you've got puppies. One of the first things that you want to have ready is beef liver and colostrum. Colostrum is what your female gives to your pups about 12 to 24 hours prior to her milk turning to milk and her giving them milk. You might get a female, especially when we're doing C-sections and all this stuff, you get a female that doesn't nurse them, doesn't take to them, whatever it may be. You want colostrum to be a part of the bottle feed that you give to the pup. Also have beef liver ready just in case you have fading pups. You want to take beef liver water. You want to take the beef liver, put it in a pan or a skillet. You boil that with the blood and everything because a lot of times it's got a lot of blood. You boil that. You put a little bit of water in there, and then you let it sizzle, let it get to a boil for about 5-7 minutes. If it goes 10 minutes, you cooked it too long. So I'd say about 5 to 7 minutes. Once it starts to boil, now what I've seen some people do is they will get water boiling in the skillet first, then they'll put in the beef liver, and then they'll let it go from there, and they give it about 5 minutes. Once you've gotten that, you need to strain it. You want to get a dropper, and you want to take about 4 drops, and you put it on the puppy's tongue. The puppies that you know that you see are fading, they're getting weak. Take about 4 drops, and you want to put that on their tongue every 2 hours. 4 drops every 2 hours for 12 hours. After 12 hours, you're going to do 4 drops every 4 hours till the pup is, what would you say, is doing good. He's thriving. And that's how you use the beef liver water. The other thing is, well, like I said with the colostrum, you're going to add that to your pups that you're whelping. The formula I use whole goat's milk. So first, I'm trying to get the pups on moms because that's the best milk there is, as much as possible. From there, I'm topping pups off. Pup that I see are constantly fighting to get to the nipples, struggling. Then I go through, those are the pups, I'll grab them, kind of give them some milk, then try to put them back on her. But I try to make sure they're all getting, fluid from mom. So if I know a pup's been struggling, the other thing is, don't just snatch pups. That movement that they're making, digging between those pups, is extremely good for their shoulders, their hips, their neck, their backs. So don't just pick up pups. Oh, he's struggling. There's not enough nipples. Let him fight. That is part of the growth aspect of puppies. You got a pup that's laying there comfortably. This pup's been struggling for a little bit. Go ahead, take that pup off, put this pup on his nipple, and now go ahead and top this pup off with your milk. But I try to top off all pups after feeding. And again, struggling to get to the nipple is part of it. Don't get, oh, he's not getting to a nipple. Let him fight. That's all a part of building intelligence. Think about it. I've got people in my way. I'm trying to make my way to this object. I can't see. I can't hear. But I've got to make my way to this object. Think about the brain development that is building right there. You lose that if you grab me and then all of a sudden here you go, just throw a nipple in my mouth. So we need to, like we all were discussing earlier, we need to stick to nature as much as possible. Just as breeders, we want to make sure these pups are healthy and strong. But part of them being healthy and strong is the natural process of fighting to get to a nipple. So I always use, the pups I feed are the pups that have already gotten to the nipple. Now I'm going to take them. They've been nursing on mom. This pup's struggling the most. Now I'm going to start plucking them, and I'm going to start feeding them. If I notice that pup is starting to give up, that's when I'll go ahead and help him get to the nipple. Other than that, he's going to wait till I start plucking pups. And I'll help him out by grabbing pups that are in front of him. I'll try to help him that way. But I want it to be as close to nature as possible. And then I'm just going to top off pups with my formula that I've made. As far as the formula, I stick with, regardless of breed, whole goat's milk, about 10 ounces. I add 1 raw egg yolk. And you should be able to just crack the egg, take it in 2 pieces, and then just kind of, filter it, let that white go into the trash. Bam, save your egg yolk. Boom, dump that in there. I add 1 cup of plain yogurt, not diet yogurt, not fat-free yogurt, not blueberry yogurt, plain yogurt. 1 cup of plain yogurt. I add 1/2 teaspoon of Karo syrup, or you can use corn syrup. I like to use the Karo syrup, Karo. I use the clear one. Last week we were on here. Belinda says she likes the dark one. I don't think she ever hit me up with why. So if you remember, Belinda, put that in the comments now because I would like to know why. But I've always used the clear one. Then that's when I give them their colostrum. I'll add a cup, little thing of, I don't ever measure it. But anyway, I'll add that to the colostrum. You don't want it to be so much colostrum. I use a powder. You don't want it to be so much colostrum that it doesn't go through the nipple correctly. It should go through the nipple, so you're not giving them much. You mix all that together, you start pouring your bottles, and you get your pups ready. You want to feed your pup at 0 to 2 weeks. You want to be feeding them every 2 hours for 2 weeks, okay? Once they hit 2 weeks, you want to be feeding them every 4 hours until they hit 4 weeks. You want to be making sure that that's how often they feed. At 4 weeks old, you're taking them off mom's nipple. You're going to start feeding them yourself. Remember, when you take them off her nipple and you start giving them solid food, she is no longer going to clean up behind those pups, because now, up until now, she's been picking up their shit and eating it and all that stuff, cleaning up behind them. The minute you start giving them that kibble and you create that mush, mom is no longer cleaning up behind them. It stinks. She don't like that. She ain't gonna like the taste. She ain't gonna like none of that. So at that point, at 4 weeks old, I take the same exact formula that I've been feeding them through the bottle. I now add that to the mush. The only thing is I'm letting it soak a little bit longer. The other thing I will add to mush is I will add raw. Sometimes I'll do raw ground beef. Some dogs I will do. I will cook it. I like to do raw ground beef. I start adding that to the mush a little bit at a time. If your puppy gets diarrhea as you're making this change, canned pumpkin, pure 100% canned pumpkin. Give that to the pup. You can dip your finger in it, give it to the pup. Most times they do like it, but that will help with the diarrhea. Canned pumpkin also helps with constipation. At 8 weeks old, so I'm doing this now. So now you're at from 4 to 6 weeks. I'm feeding this formula for 4 to 6 weeks old every 6 hours. So that would be what? 4 servings a day. At 6 to 8 weeks old, I start getting the puppies off of the mush and on the kibble. Whatever kibble I'm choosing to use for the mush goes away. Hold on. Whatever kibble I'm choosing to use for the mush, it's no longer going to be mush anymore. So at 6 weeks old, I'm no longer adding the formula that I was once adding. At 6 weeks old, now they're strictly on the kibble. And I gradually do it by not letting it soak as long as I do with mush. And then eventually it's just kibble. Now I'm going to feed them this kibble every 8 hours. They're going to get 3 servings. So that's 3 servings. So they're going to get that every 8 hours from 6 to 8 weeks. At 8 weeks old, they go to their new homes. The pups that I'm keeping at 8 weeks old, I start introducing fruits and veggies to their food along with the raw ground beef. If you're using raw, you plan on doing raw, then you just need to add fruits and veggies there. When it comes to the fruits and veggies, again, we're starting at 8 weeks old. I do not introduce garlic to dogs until they are 6 months old. But at 8 weeks old, I will start introducing blueberries, sardines, strawberries, and it's an every other day thing. So today I'm going to give you sweet potato, cooked sweet potato, frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries. I just put them in a bowl of hot water while everything's cooking, and then I mash it up and I make that a part of their spinach is also good. And this is an every other day thing. Turmeric is also good for young pups. You only want to give just a little bit. But turmeric is also something I don't start until they hit 6 months old. Then I have a protein day where now the pup is getting its raw ground beef and is getting its sardines. Brussels sprouts, also good. Spinach is good. What else? That would be about it. So the pups are now 8 weeks old, and then next thing you know, they hit 6 months old. That's when I start introducing garlic, and that's when I start introducing turmeric. And that's also when I start only feeding them twice a day. Okay, so up until now, they've been fed 3 times a day. At 6 months old, I only feed them twice a day. At 6 months old is when I also start fasting. So now the pup is eating twice a day, but on Sundays, they're only going to eat once a day. I do this all the way up until a year. At a year old, I only feed dogs once a day. And I fast on Sundays, meaning that the dog does not eat at all. So they eat at 6 o'clock on Saturday. They won't eat again until 6 o'clock on Monday. Why would I only feed once a day? And why would I fast once a week? You have to, because of the things we feed our dogs, from kibble to raw and all these things, you have to give your dog the ability to clear its system. The reason we call it, and it's beyond just, we call it breakfast because why? Break down the word and it's break and fast. because you were fasting while you went to sleep, and then all of a sudden you woke up and now you're eating again. So you're breaking the fast. That's why they call it breakfast. Problem with dogs is a lot of times people are feeding them twice a day. The University of Arizona did a study of, I think it was about 20,000 dogs. And they found that dogs that were only fed once a day lived longer and were better off fighting cancer, things like that. The reason I always fed once a day before ever knowing about University of Arizona study is because they're animals. Animals don't run around. Predators don't go run around eating multiple times a day. Some of them don't even eat multiple times in a week, let alone in a day. So our dogs are designed for their stomachs to clear. So we feed them once a day. That's good. And then you figure on Sunday, I fast. And that's how I keep a healthy dog. Dogs living 12, 15, 17 years. And that would be my advice to people when it comes to nutrition. Because that's a question that I get a lot. So we just went through the stages. Now, when you get to your elderly dogs, remember, we're looking at a dog that is noticeably aging. The drive is not there like it used to be. Still thinks he can do all the same things he ever once did. Floyd still thinks he could jump on our bed. We have to stop him from not trying to jump up on our bed because, one, he's not supposed to be up there anyway, but two, we don't want him to find out he can no longer do it. And I've seen little things to let me know, okay, you can't jump up there. We do have a high bed. So when the dogs get older, some people say cut back on their food so there's less weight on their joints. I say continue walking the dog and to continue monitoring the dog's weight. Continue exercising the dog, continue monitoring the dog's weight. What you don't want, what happens a lot of times, is the dog does less. You feed it the same amount, and the dog gains weight. This is bad for an elderly dog's joints. What you want to do is keep an eye on it. If the dog's moving around less, you don't need to feed it less until you notice that it's gaining weight. But the second you notice, even if it just seems like it, go ahead and cut back on that food a little bit. That way there's less weight on those. Give me just a second to switch earpiece. All right, is my earpiece in? Looks like you guys can hear me. So, okay, there we go. So, yeah, that's the thing when it comes to your older dogs is, don't just cut back immediately. Cut back when you notice them doing less or you're doing less with them. And you cut back just a little. So, like, you don't want to get to a point where you're cutting back more than 25% of what it is they normally eat as they get older. You want to maintain right around that, no less than that. So, whatever they used to eat, you want to give them 75% of that. But only when you notice that they're not doing as much anymore, aging is actually hitting them and affecting them. The other thing with giving a older dog less, hunger causes dogs to move around more, causes them to get more excited. Predators thrive off hunger. So if you're cutting back 25% of the dog's food because they're now 8, 9, 10, 15 years old, this is going to cause them to walk around more, beg more. They're going to think more because they're going to try to engage with you. So all these things are healthy for the dog and help it operate at its best. And then that is pretty much it. I'm going to go through the comments and see what y'all is talking about. Let's see. If you have had the same vet for years, most times they will go in between your days. Pitbull Bill, Eric, that happens sometimes, but it's more because they use wrong anesthesia. Yeah, I've heard that also. Too much and wrong. While I wish I had a vet for years. I know that's the one thing that sucks about me moving is I'm gonna have to find a vet and like establish a new relationship. And I'm a person, I hadn't been to a vet for 30 years till I got into bullies and got into bullies with the C-sections and all that stuff. So now I'm back going to a vet. So I spent the last few years, kind of getting to know the local vet that I chose to use. And now all of a sudden we're moving and I got to restart that process all over again. Eric Maxwell say, if you have a good vet, they'll give their honest opinion if you need a C-section. There you go. Day One Bully said, if you breed to two classic dogs, can you get standards or pocket puppies if it's the two classics dogs being bred? Yes, it depends on what's in them. So for instance, standard people will breed to a classic dog to get a little bit better structure. Standard people will also breed to a pocket dog to get a little bit more compactness. Then all of a sudden, they have a classic dog. This standard that's been doing these breedings puts out what they call a classic dog now. And then this classic person breeds to another classic person. And the next thing you know, you got out a standard and a pocket out of it. Yes, it's very, very possible due to the way the dogs were bred previously. Belinda said yes, wildlife. Okay. Day 57, x-ray for head size. There you go. So day 57, x-ray for head size. Vet should be able to look at the birth canal and give you an idea of whether you should do the C-section or not. Ashley said, I use uni milk replacer and vanilla ice cream for moms after birth. Okay, I didn't think about it. Tums are great for mom after birth. I've heard about vanilla ice cream, and actually I've heard that for years. I've never tried it though. But these are things that help the mom get her milk and everything going. But I use uni milk replacer and vanilla ice cream for moms after birth. I put mom on a nice fatty diet. Very good. Lots of water. And make sure they're getting at least 2 good walks daily, keeping them from intense workouts. Exactly. Belinda said, I put my bitch where she is going to whelp within 2 weeks prior, at least, preferably when I confirm. Okay, so what Belinda's basically saying is she wants her to be as comfortable as possible. So wherever she's going to be, she puts that female there 2 weeks ahead of time. That way she's getting used to that environment that she's going to be in with her pups. Ashley said, before birth, I use uni milk replacer and vanilla ice cream for moms before birth. I put mom on a nice diet. Okay, I get it. Let's see. Eric said, I've never had to have one, but confident my vet would prepare me for it if they thought I needed one. I don't agree with breeders that consistently pull pups at day 58 or 59. I don't either. And I actually didn't start hearing about that probably about a couple months ago. I like day 60, 61. That's me. I think 60, 61, if there's any issues, I can assist those pups and get them through those issues. That's a long, and then you figure when we're talking about breeding, some pups start developing. So for instance, semen hits the egg on Monday, but semen doesn't hit other eggs until Tuesday or Wednesday. So there's usually a 2 to 3 days. So like a lot of times the runt of the litter is not necessarily the runt of the litter. It's just that that egg didn't fertilize till 2 days after some of those other eggs. And now here you are doing a C-section 2 days early. Well, that's 2 days early for the dogs that took on time. For those that took after, that's 4 days early. So that's why, to me, 61 is a good date or a good day. Rose said Gotti line are pretty much gray line dogs. No, Rose. Gray line dogs started Gotti line. But what they did was they took gray line dogs and then started breeding them to any and everything, from English bulldogs to American bulldogs to Rottweilers and Mastiffs. And that's how you got Gotti line. But gray line, which is Juan Gotti, start of Gotti line. And then Gotti line dogs were bred to other breeds to create Gotti line. You also had Gotti line people that would go get other gray line dogs that were still flourishing and then start crossing them with other dives. But yeah, so gray line started Gotti line, but Gotti line is not the same as gray line. Gray line was an agile, athletic, driven Amstaff pit, or what some would say pit bull dogs. Let's see. Belinda said day 63 on first breeding day. I don't go sooner as pups have to be 61 gestation, and I never go over 3-day breeding span. There you go. Me either. Eric. Yes, Rose, they go back to gray line. Yeah, so they go, Gotti line goes back to gray line, but they're not the same dogs at all, not even close. Dax was a Gotti line dog, and gray line dogs would eat Dax up. Tuxedo Pit Bulls. I almost missed this live. See, that's why I was like, I don't remember seeing him in here. Thanks for joining in, brother. The Wildlife said that's good info, Bell. Always work for you that way. She said yes. When I call a dog, I rehome it. When I call a dog, I rehome it. That's pretty much what most people do now, is making sure that the dog doesn't go to a breeder. Or that the dog is spayed or neutered. What kind of culling are we talking about? We were talking about hard and soft culls, but why? And the reasons most people felt was, soft cull, if the dog just shouldn't be bred, it's not what you want representing your kennel. Hard cull, if there's some type of deformity, anything that is going to cause that pup to have a difficult life. And by soft cull, we're talking about spay and neuter, or just giving it to a pet home to somebody that you trust is not going to breed that dog. Rose said, I'll boil pork. Yeah, I think pork should always be cooked. Do you deworm pregnant females, and when do you worm puppies? Worm puppies I worm puppies at 6 weeks old. I worm mom the minute the pups are off of her. So when the pups hit 4 weeks old, I worm mom. And then when the pups are 6 weeks old, but I also, so basically, you're about to do a breeding. I go ahead and I worm mom. After that, I don't worm her again until the pups hit 4 weeks old and they're off the nipple. When the pups hit 6 weeks old, they're tough, they're strong. That's when I go ahead and I deworm them at 6 weeks old. Even bacon, cook the bacon, yes. Tuxedo, hard and soft. Exactly. y'all getting kind of pervy in here now. Okay, Anthony Sunbred, a paper hung KMX Lilo to Odd Job. It was a huge litter and had Tank, Kingslayer, Joker, Radrick, and a bunch of other dogs, which created 90% of popular Merles today. Okay, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Pitbull Bell said Casper, yes, before and first trimester and third, but we be careful with the wormer. Yeah, that's why I wait. Wildlife, Woodland, Jumanji, Morpheus all got their roots from that litter. I didn't know that. So, okay, because we have a daughter, a Woodland daughter, and I know Morpheus is Woodland's uncle. So, okay, I didn't know that. That's good to know. I did not know that. But yeah, we have a Woodland daughter right now. Mia, we just bred her, matter of fact, and found out she didn't take, which I'm kind of glad, because I want this move to Arkansas to be as easy as possible. Rose said, if the dog doesn't have working ability, I'm culling it. I don't breed for color or size. I breed for performance and structure. One of the loves about working dogs is when bred correctly, all my dogs were able to perform. They weren't all as good as others, but they were all able to perform. And that is one of my loves about working dogs. When there's this American Bully thing, which is why I'm setting up a structure once we move, so that I can really push and test the dogs and then make that a part of the breeding. Because one is just what I'm comfortable with. It's really only thing I know how to do when it comes to breeding for looks and appearance and the latest trends. That's just not my style. The trend typically has always been a breed, now the trend is not just a breed, it's a certain look in the breed. And a lot of times that trend goes backwards and is not healthy for the dog. So my thing is I want a way to test my dog. So I'll be setting up, you know, a facility to do so. But I also know once we get to that point, all the pups in the litter should be able to perform and move successfully. Doesn't mean they'll all be the fastest or the strongest or the one that hits the hogs the hardest or the best one for protection. No, you're going to get somewhat of variety. But when you're breeding for working dogs, your litters should be consistent. So if I'm breeding for hog catching and I have 10 pups, all those pups should be able to do it, especially those males. All those males should be very similar to each other because that's what you're breeding for. Dog has to be intelligent also, yes. Smoked pork, baked for 2 hours in the oven. Only pork will give for a treat, but like only once or twice a year. I feel you. Let's see here. Da, 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 da. What advice would you give for a 4-month female that has just started passing discharge when going pee? She's 4 months. If you're noticing discharge from her peeing, I would add a little bit of apple cider vinegar to her water. Now, here's the thing. And I would only do, this is hard to tell you. I should go grab that bowl. So I got a bowl of water. It's about like this big. I could probably put, this got to be cleaned out. I could probably put 3 of those in there. I'm trying to find something. I would say that bowl of water, here's a Gatorade bottle. That bowl of water, I could probably fill up 4 Gatorade bottles in that. If I were to use this, I could probably do about 6 to 8 of these in that, and they would only get about a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and it will help clear their system, especially discharge things. My issue is this discharge green, yellow? What type of color is it? You know, are you just noticing a fluid that's separate from the urine? So I would need more on that. But at 4 months old, definitely be kind of ready to take the dog to the vet because you may need antibiotics. I do my own handle that myself. That's not something I would go into when I'm advising people online though. But 2 things that are going to be great for your dog's water is apple cider vinegar and also Himalayan sea salt. You just want to give a small pinch of Himalayan sea salt every day, add it to their water. Apple cider vinegar, about a teaspoon. Put it in there, then fill the container up with water. So if you got something that's smaller than the bowl I use, you may only want to do half a teaspoon. And that does help keep their urinary tract and everything, you know, clean and efficient. But again, I would need more detail as what color the discharge is, what options other than pork. Pardon my ignorance. Nah, no worries. You've got, I would say, run with chicken and beef. Chicken and beef are the 2 best. I'm more partial to beef. Let's see. Tuxedo said is what is hard and soft cull. So hard cull is actually putting the dog down, killing the dog. A soft cull means you're having the dog. Typically, you're just sending it to a home that's not going to be bred or having the dog spayed and neutered. But your purpose in it is because of not wanting it to breed. Okay, pronounce kahiki. Okay, kahiki sakata. All right, cool. Shout out to Hawaii. Let's see. Wildlife says should be called a bell call. Exactly. Belinda don't play. Kings of Bully Excellence said, I was having trouble with the link to the group as well, but I got through with the link you posted in a previous live. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. What's your favorite ear crop style? I like the battle crop and the short crop. The show crop's a little long for me, but I like the short crop and the battle crop are my two favorite. I think they really accentuate the blockiness of the head. If you have a blocky head. Watchtower said, FB doing you dirty. The group didn't pop up. My recent post popped up. See, that shit's crazy. Pitbull Bell, yes, if you must feed, freeze it. We used to salt our hides and freeze it. Yeah. Then when need to use it, thaw and throw in sun, then wash it good. There you go. Let's see. Tuxedo, hard coal is killed, soft coal is fixed and pet out. Yep. Rose said, I don't crop ears, but I like the show or battle crop. There you go. Tuxedo said, okay. Casper likes the battle crop. King has the battle crop. Shit, King is the only dog we've cropped. All the rest of our dogs have their ears, I think. No, Aziz has the short crop. King has a battle crop. Aziz has a short crop. Gage has a short crop. But King has the battle crop where it's tight close to the head. Wildlife said battle crop usually look terrible. It depends on how they're done. They got to be done right. Yeah, Aura said Thor Bullies, Thor Bullies family. Nice to hear and see you're alive. Always great to hear yours and other opinions about different subjects. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see here. Short. Rose said, I don't fix dogs or pet home dogs. I just rehome the dog to someone that I know that's going to care for the dog like I will. There you go. And that's what's most important. If I crop, it's half the ear and above the cartilage. Got you. That would, okay. Half the ear and above the cartilage would be kind of a short to show crop, I'm thinking. Mine are a bit longer than typical bully cut. So probably show crop. Okay, and that's the link to the group. And let's see. Ashley Hernan said yes. Okay, so you got it, Zachariah. Cool. Once I had a female that had to have emergency C-section, but then whelp naturally. It was an accident as to why I needed a C-section. You know, Cardi Bull, she's a rough girl, so that's why I didn't trust her with her pups. The first, I'd say, day or two, she didn't want anything to do with them. After that, she would actually whelp them. So it took her about 2 days, where she would do it naturally. Keywords are hurting groups too. Yeah, I try to include as many keywords as possible. I'll share it on Facebook and tag you. Cool. Boom, exotic, or exactly, Eric. The process of birth releases hormones and eating the placenta also. I've seen people argue about the placenta thing lately. I personally still like to give them the placenta just to get things going because that's what they would have normally done. There are both males and females that shouldn't ever be bred. Agreed. Males and females that shouldn't be breeding as far as the humans. Thinking about building my new kennel on pavers. Anyone disagree? What do you mean by pavers? What is that? Concrete is bad on skin and joints. I understand that, but what I want to do is there's these mats you can kind of lay down. So that's what I want to kind of lay down. I do not want to do wood and things that are going to be difficult. Now, at the same time, I agree concrete is bad for skin and joints. They will get blankets laid in there, so they'll tear up and get on my nerves. But they're gonna get a lot of time outside of the kennel. I'm not gonna have it to the point where I've got dogs that are in the kennel and all I do is kind of let them out. They're gonna get a lot of exercise, even though they'll be in the kennel. Even though they'll be on concrete, they will get a lot of exercise and and things will be done so that it's not messing up, their skin and things like that. If you have C-section Have the vet save you the placenta. They wash it. There you go. That and the fact that people are literally doing C-sections in their garage. See, that's fucking crazy. And don't have correct supplies and don't know how to properly stitch and stomach bursts open. That's crazy. Then they lose dog and dump dog. Then they start looking for vets. Exactly. Man, that garage C-section is some savages. Yeah, you got to be super savage to. I know I can stitch a dog up real good, but to want to do a C-section just to save money. Average C-section is what? If you schedule it, the average one is probably about $1,000, I'm thinking. The dude who does a C-section is going to charge you what, too? So what are you saving, like $800? You know what I mean? That's just crazy. Man, that garage C-section is some savages. Pitbull Bell says when they burst and go to the vet reports and bad publicity. There you go. There you go. My dogs do good on dirt chain setup, but I have a shed kennel setup also. We're going to have another kennel that is shed, but that's going to be more for like King Justice and another female that we'll be picking up. But the barn's going to be done with cement. Yes, it is, and disgusting, disturbed. Yeah, I don't understand people. The shortcuts are just killing dogs. And the ignorance associated with even wanting that type of shortcut. Should do a topic on challenges of care and breeding in different parts of the country. I'm in Erie, Pennsylvania, and deal with way different circumstances than someone in Texas or Cali. That is a good idea. That's a very good idea. And I will add that because I'm assuming that you're talking about like weather issues, things like that, challenges on care and breeding. And if you can't, Eric, make sure to throw that in next week's poll, which I'll post on Monday. In different areas and country. That's a good idea. All right. Rose said, I just let the mother do her thing and keep a close eye on her and the pups. Exactly. Cardi Blue she's just rough. I think she'd probably be better now, but she's that dog that she's just rough. Like even that litter, she had 11 pups. All the pups they're nursing for, not all of them, but they're nursing from her. She sees one pup that's a little further away than she wanted it to be. And she goes to try to get to it. And as she tries to get to it, she pushes her forearm on another pup and kills it. She's just a rough dog, and that is her. Rhodes, I have no issues with a good chain. It's good for a dog, in my opinion, for any reasons, not just to leave there and only feed, though. Exactly. Now, I don't have a problem with chain setups. I know people use their imaginations and call it cruelty, but I don't have a problem with a good chain setup. The dogs just have to be, they have to get out off of the chain. And even with some chain setups are better than most people's kennels. And a lot of breeders don't want to have that discussion. I have to be responsible. Yes, watch Tara. I've always brought placenta home, and when I did a C-section. Let's see. Most of you guys in here kind of talking to yourself. Beef liver, colostrum, cottage cheese. Yes, beef broth, good for mom, and yes, pups benefit from the water. La Faleas, just was interesting when I lived in Ohio with pups in the winter. They get it done and back in quick. Let's see. That's the only time I've intervened. For large litter and smaller ones, I'll bottle feed. And like you said, I'll pull bigger pups if smaller pups just can't make it to nip. There you go. That's the best way to do it. Let them get their struggle in. Let them find that nipple on their own. Also have bottle fed because mom didn't get milk, or they try to kill all pups. In that case, mom is fixed and give away. There you go. I did tell you last week, Daryl, why Daryl over. Oh, dark stimulates bowel movements best. See, I've never heard of that. Dark stimulates bowel movements best. Has higher sugar, so less the so the dark does have more sugar, so less chance of sugar seizures. Okay. Also better with constipation. To get light seems to let them get constipated. I did not know that. I never heard that. So I missed it when you posted that last week. So I got to look into that. So dark stimulates the bowel movements the best and has higher sugar and is better for constipation. Okay, that's good to know because I've always been using the light, the clear one, and other reason dark Cairo. Roads Kennels, I call it dry Sunday. They won't receive anything that whole day. I'll let them empty out their system. They get 1 cup of kibble every day. There you go. All right, y'all. Let me see what else is on here. They get raw chicken. Okay, Belle says she fasts once a week also. Um, I am not into, I get the point with B12 supplements. I'm not into supplements. I prefer, let's see, we got 10 minutes left. I prefer to get it through natural, natural ways. I'm just not into supplements. I get under the use of B12, but yeah, I'm not into supplements. My 11-year-old is still very active. He's on beef base 26. There you go. No need for supplements unless they absolutely need it or like joint support. Joint support, I get. And older dogs, if you feed good, you have no need for extra supplements. I agree 100%. Anyone else use a Sure Grow for XL pups? I use Sure Grow. I want to say for the first year and a half. So there's a supplement that I did use. So I think we were using that. I don't. What made me use it on Cardi Bull? I forget why I used it, but Sure Grow I don't think is bad. It doesn't come with a lot in it. It's not overdone. It's something that's been around for I don't know how long, for years. So Sure Grow on growing pups is not bad. Um, Girl, you'll find a good old timer vet in Arkansas. I'll message you about some according to your location. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Strong's. So let me know. Strongs. I'll be about 2 hours from Little Rock. I got nice standards from Placer Bitch to my standard mail. Some of the best, actually. There you go. Rose said I got my female in her whelping room already. They did their first and second tie today. There you go. Yes, vanilla ice cream during labor. Actually, if long labor, the cold will induce stronger contractions. You know what? I have heard that. Max Cyborg 100. I'm happy to see that you have what you have in store for us as far as the American Bully Makeover. Shout out to you and Terrell Quincy. What's up? Shout out to Terrell. He's a good dude. Pitbull Bell said, Wildlife, I use Sure Grow 100 only with pups were lacking when I got them. Okay, so the pups that were lacking is what made you use it. Makes sense. Marlon, what's up, man? Thanks for jumping in. 14-week-old oldie suddenly developed fear, period, of walks down the street. Otherwise, she has good flirt pole and ball fest drive and very good structure. I'm assuming she's developed this fear, but you have no idea why she developed the fear. What I would do is if she likes to play fetch, bring the ball with you. Let her see that it's with you and get her to get past that fear and see how that does. If that becomes an issue still, even with the ball, then let me know. Because once she knows that ball's in your hand, that excitement should cause her to walk past that fear. Then get to the point where the ball's just in your pocket because she'll still smell it. and then get to the point where you're walking without it, or you get her to a park where nobody's around and you can do a little quick game of fetch or whatever. But get her to start understanding having a good time, during those walks, and bringing that ball. That since she has the fetch drive, bring that ball, and that'll probably help you get her through it. Marlon, anything you remember happened on the walk? Exactly, that may have traumatized the dog. That's what I'm wondering. I've been using it on all pups. These monsters need the support, I think. Yeah, I will use Sure Grow 100 on pups. I think with Cardi, I was using it. I don't remember if King was using it. And I stopped once she hit, I think about a year and a half, maybe 2 is when I stopped. Wangati came from old Gray Line dogs, and the good old Michaelin dogs were from Gray Line and newer Gotti line. Okay. Mr. J, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining in. Definitely going to do the recap of this one to catch the first 2/3. Some monster dogs. I deworm pups at 4 to 5 weeks. Okay. Let's see. Nothing that I can remember. Yeah, Marlon, I would say bring that ball with you on the walks. Have it in your hand. Get the dog going, and hopefully that helps you kind of get the dog moving and its energy on a whole nother level. Is it snowing? No, it's not snowing in Pasadena. At least I don't think so. Better shouldn't be. Roads, I deworm the mother. After she's done with the pups, I use Pro Labs. I start deworming pups at a week old. Do you? And every week till 9 weeks old, then once a month. Wow. Yeah, I don't deworm them until they hit 6 weeks old is when I start. Now, if I notice, because they get that bloat look, then I'll do it at 4 weeks. But I do it between 4 and 6 weeks old. Let's see. I feel like since almost all these big dogs' ancestors were not health tested in the past, I'll take all the bone and joint support I can get. I feel you. And not only that, they used good breeds, but used terrible dogs from those breeds, a lot of people. So that's what kind of sucks about it. Let's see. Marlon, maybe cars or something loud or frightening. Looking to it. Keep doing it. Make it with a positive rewards. Yeah, you have to. Anytime fear is involved, you got it. She's 100% right, which is why I was saying bring the ball with you. Why is that wire keep doing that? Bring the ball with you. See if you can get her excited about what may be taking place. And then as you go, reward her. Lots of pets, lots of love. Bring a treat. If you got a spot where you can kind of look around, make sure there's no dogs around, and play a quick 1 to 2 fetches, that too. Put the leash back on her and go. But that would be something I would like to see when you start noticing the triggers. Is it when you grab the leash? Is it when you open the doors? Or when you put the leash on her? Is it as you get further down the street? Is she fine when you walk out the house, but then a certain area down the street triggers her? That would be something that would be interesting to see. Let's see. Pitbull Bell said, tuxedo, absolutely not too soon. I've done it for nearly 30 years now, and nobody has ever taken a dog to a vet and had worms completely healthy. She's talking about her deworming early. Just don't use ivermectin. I don't use ivermectin. I was using that for years when I was younger and stopped. The wildlife Clavamax is a good if it's a UTI. Okay, with the one of the guys left a comment about there's a discharge showing when his female pees. Well, I'm sure they don't have worms. Exactly. Clavamax is good for lots of things, especially upper respiratory infection. Let's see. No tuxedo, they don't put, but pups are born with worms. Mom harbors them in pancreas, and then they absorb through the uterus. Very true. And attack puppies, I will worm pups, then mom. I alternate wormers too, but worming pups and mom the whole time is a must. So they don't pass them back and forth. My dog likes straight apple cider. Vinegar, laugh out loud. He likes sauerkraut too. Wow. Okay, sauerkraut. That took some work for me to get our dogs on it. The apple cider vinegar, my Jack Russell was kind of like, when she was living, she was kind of like, I don't know about that. The sauerkraut, that took some work with our dogs. Like I had to start up a little bit at a time and then increasing it. So if you got a dog that actually likes them both, then that's great. You're ahead of the game right there. What wormer do you use? Mr. J, most dogs do, especially when given from a pup. Exactly. If you start them off early, they're good. I start with Valbazin the next week, Safeguard, and I alternate till I can give a triple worm tab. Mr. J, which is smart. Mr. J said all my dogs have. I see a lot of people say they have to mix it to get their dog to eat it, maybe because I've always done it since young. That's probably what it is. I've never had a problem either way. Sometimes I just put it in the food. Yeah, my dogs, when I first started using sauerkraut, um, they wanted nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. I have outside kennel set up on dirt also. My indoor shed kennel set up for concrete has concrete flooring. Bossed up bully camp. What's up, Trevi? Thanks for joining in, dude. Tuxedo said I'm in Wisconsin. We sleep between the mattresses. What? Mr. J said I wouldn't have a kennel here in Colorado unless it was indoors. Laugh out loud. Winter is too random here. I feel you. Eric Maxwell said, let me see, where are we at right now? Okay. Hell, same. Something as simple as cleaning up dog crap throughout the winter becomes a huge challenge. Spring cleanup can be crazy after a bad snowy winter. Yeah, see, and that's why I think you really have to think about your kennel setups and plans. Thanks for the live, Daryl. I got off work early, so I'm going to head out. Peace, everyone. Shout out to you, Casper. Thanks for tuning in, brother. Let's see here. Rhodes, I'm in Cali. Casa only use supplements when she's not eating, especially during false pregnancy. She goes through. Wait a minute, hold on. I only use supplements when she's not eating, especially. There you go. That's understandable. Susie Q Kiwi said, I agree with you, Daryl. I've never given supplements over my years. Oh, natural is the best way. They on a proper diet. Yes, I agree 100%. Robert said, how come people that know it all got sucky dogs? Y'all, everybody, if you have a rock throwing emoji, just go ahead and use that on Rob. You know, whatever middle finger emojis and all that stuff. Rob, I'm going to hit you in a sec as soon as I get off of here. I appreciate the information for the show. Wildlife. Don't be laughing at Rob and the shit he says. Do not instigate him. I was waiting for him to. Make sure y'all check out that interview I did with Terrell Quincy. I'll look for that, dude. I'll definitely do so. I might be doing an interview with Terrell Wednesday. A guy is going to be interviewing both of us. We'll see. I told the guy I was down to do it. I think Terrell said he was down to do it. So we'll see. Marlon, if you have a set walk, all right. Okay, so we're almost done. We're almost down at the bottom. That was to Marlon. Reverse mini start walk where you usually end. Bam. Exactly. Check it out, Rose. Come check us out. Goat Yard. Kennel. Hear your channel. What's good, brother? H-Town, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining in. And let's see here. Looks like what we use instead of Ivermectin and Bully Bred Kennels. That's what I'm using now. You know what? Hearts is good. A lot of the dewormers are good. You just want to make sure, if you notice when Belinda was talking about she switches, that's the main thing, is switch. Don't always use the same dewormer. But most dewormers are pretty good. You want to make sure that you got them for heartworms and also your regular intestinal worms. But like I said, you can usually get, most dewormers are pretty good. You just want to make sure that you're not always using the same brand, the same dewormer. Let's see, where else are we? Looks like we're through most of it. People talking about poop in the snow. And I think that's it. After our snow melts here, it's dog poo everywhere. Not the park. That's nasty. I never thought about that with the snow, but that's funny. I guess that makes sense though. The snow clears out and then there's dog shit everywhere. That's why I don't go. I can't give your dog enough ivermectin. You can't give your dog enough ivermectin to kill worms without burning up the liver. Yeah, ivermectin is some strong stuff. That's why I don't go to parks or dog parks in the spring. I don't go to dog parks, period. Rose, yeah, I remember you show your dogs on here. They look good. We got to get back to where we're showing dogs on here. Juice Dog, what's up? All right, so that ends today's live. We'll be back again next Thursday. So we're not going to change the format. We're going to stick to the regular long ass lives, and we'll go from there. Mondays, I will post the poll in Giant XL American Bully Breed 2.0, and that way you can add whatever topics you guys want to touch on. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for those who are contributing, giving advice, and helping to answer questions. We are out.